All right, guys, I think we are live. I'm not even sure. It's been 3 months. Can you guys believe it's been 3 months since we're live? It looks like it worked. Let's just triple double check. If you're watching the replay, you're going to learn how to make beats from scratch. I'm going to simplify beat making. Basically, I'm going to give you guys the 4-step process to make melodies, which always works for me. I'm going to give you the 9-step process for making a song. Let me just double check the audio. Scratch. I'm going to so audio looks straight. All right, cool. All right, it's been a minute, but yeah, we're back. No webcam today because this computer's webcam is not the greatest. I ran out of USB spots for the webcam, so it is what it is. All right, CPU's running a little high. I'm trying to figure out why that is. Give me a sec. I think it's just because I'm live. Oh, it's this plug in here. Okay, let's turn that off. All right, so we are just getting started. Okay, so the first thing to understand beat making is that there are four. Wait, let me do one more thing for we. Okay, public, cool. There are 4 layers to making a beat. The first layer is called the top line. So the top line is your memorable melody. This is what people whistle or sing back or hum. Very important because if we don't have that part of the song, it's very hard to identify the next areas. Nextly is the harmony section. This is where you add your chords. This is the glue of the track. This is basically what makes everything make sense and gives it context. And then thirdly, we have the contrast layer. So the contrast layer is all about the bass line or the counter melodies. Contrast just means opposite. So here's where we create the dynamic of the song, basically. And lastly, we have the rhythm section. The rhythm section is where we add drums, we add frequency to the instruments so that it repeats over time to create what are called motifs and themes. I never had a type of beat. We're just going to get started with the chord types. But if you have a chord type, Nate, let me know. We're going to make that. All right, so those are the 4 layers. This works for melodies. This works for beat making. This works for song making. Okay, that when you guys ask me how to arrange, understanding everything basically fits in one of these 4 categories will simplify a lot of your sound selection problems, arrangement problems, beat block, because now you understand you're either missing something or you're overly doing something. And that will help you guys write your songs a little bit better. There's a 9-step process. I'll write it in the chat. But basically, the first thing we need to do is pick a BPM. The BPM is the frequency, the core frequency of the entire track. Nextly, we're going to pick what's called a scale, or some people call it a key. Okay, so the scale is going to give us the defined set of notes that we want to use. The BPM is going to give us the set tempo. Okay, so it's BPM first, then we have the scale or the key. Then we're going to write out our chords. Then we're going to do what's called the melody. Now from here, we're usually moving to bass. Okay, because bass and melody can derive from your chord progressions. Chords can contain a lot of musical information. So once we have our BPM, which is our rhythm, then we move into picking out specific notes that we want to lock in with. From there, we could use what are called scale degrees to create chords. And from the chords, we can generate melody. To give the melody context, we usually use chords. Okay, and then bass comes after that most of the time, because starting with bass is usually what gives people beat block because they don't know how to harmonize from bass. It's a little bit more complex. Now from the bass, then we usually add drums, which is that rhythm section. From the drums, then we can move into the vocals, and then we're going to move into the mixing stage, the mastering stage, and then the marketing. So those are the 9 steps, okay, for making a beat or a song. Okay, you have the BPM, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 steps technically for making a finished song. So whenever you guys have issues with workflow and you're trying to figure out why you keep getting beat block and all this, it's probably because you're not following a process. The process will always guarantee that you get to some end goal or end result. What's up, chill guy? Chill guy. That's hilarious. That meme on Twitter is funny. He's like the new Arthur. And apparently the real artist didn't cash in on his, what you call it, on his crypto. Give me a second here because I'm trying to load up the live, but I have to load it from a different thing. Hold up, y'all. Okay, so those are the 4 layers and then the 9 steps for always making a song. Yes, we're back live. Hold up. Give me 3 seconds. This one. Okay, cool. All right, so let's start making stuff. Okay, so the first thing is, now where do I usually start? I usually start with harmony. Once you guys understand harmony, you'll unlock melody. Everybody wants to skip harmony, but this is the reason why you're stuck. So let's open up an instrument And let's pick some stuffs. So I'm going to just show off my new plugin basically, but you could pick any plugin. The funniest part is I don't really use a lot of sound generation plugins. That's the real truth. I either use my keyboard, my Prophet 6 synth, or my own plugins. I really don't mess with a lot of plugins like that. Ample Guitar might be, you know, another go-to, or, you know, Rolling Cloud's good. Korg Triton is good. I really don't use a lot of the stuff though. Funny enough, a lot of generating plugins, but I don't use them. Just chill guy who doesn't give a F. Funny. We got to make a sound pack called Chill Guy Sounds or something like that. Okay, so let's pick out Hypnos. So this is my new plugin at busyworksbeats.com/Hypnos. I'm just super excited because I've been working on this for what, 3 months now. I haven't gone live because I wanted to finish this project. So many things got in the way, but finally we're done the project. Okay, so Hypnos has over 100 sounds, and they're sounds that we actually use, so that's the cool part. So I'm gonna go to chord library, let's go to keys. Let's start off with a vibe here. Let's do brass actually. Yeah, it kind of was in that Sky Keys vein. Oh yeah, Sky Keys, I gotta download it for this computer. Sky Keys is another one of the go-tos. I actually deleted Omnisphere on my Mac because I was like, what is the point? I think I have it on here, but I deleted it on my Mac. I was like, why am I taking up 300 gigs of space? Like, and I barely use the plugin. It's a great plugin. It's amazing. It's the top tier plugin, but I rarely use it. I was like, what am I doing with Omnisphere on my computer? So yeah, Sky Keys, I use a lot more of those presets than I do Omnisphere. But yeah, that's definitely a plugin you should get too. So I kind of modeled the energy of this plugin after Sky Keys. Not that it's the same exact plugin, but it has a lot of sounds that just are there. Okay, so anyhow, let's start off with the brass. Let me do one thing here. Let me turn off my... All right, so let's start with some harmony. Now, different harmony gives you different vibes. So let's follow my little process, my 9-step process. The BPM, let's tap that out. Let's ask ourselves what is the intent behind the song that we're about to create, or the beat we're about to create? What up, Baritone Jones? What up, dog? Peace from Dallas. Funny enough, I was watching Love Island Australia, and the new guy, I think his name is, what's his name? I forgot his name, but he was representing Dallas all the way on Love Island Australia. So I thought that was dope. Shout out to all my Dallasonians out there. No webcam today, so don't mind my just not webcamming it up today. Okay. Peace from Dallas. Shout out to you. Okay, so again, we need to figure out what is the intent of this beat. Let's go Travis Scott just to make it simple. Now, what kind of harmony? So what kind of BPM with Travis Scott? I remember. Let's slow it down. I remember. So somewhere around 128, 135 is like his natural cadence. Okay, so now we have the BPM. Let's move to the scale and key. I've studied a lot of Utopia. I can tell you guys the two keys that are prevalent in Utopia is E minor and F minor. That's because they represent, it's one of the darkest, most depressing keys is E minor, and then F minor is more rebellious. So that's why he used E minor and F minor. I teach all that in my music theory course. It's hours long, so I can't really go over everything about it. But if you guys go to busyworksbeats.com/music theory magic, that is the course that goes deeper into like which scales to choose. Okay, so let's start at E. And let's start playing minor chords, because now we're moving. Now that we have the intent, we found the BPM of Travis Scott, which is like 128 to 135. Now the scale we're going to use, there's an emotion we're trying to trigger, which is either rebellion or depression or sadness in this case. So E minor, F minor. So that picks our key, our scale. Next, we have to lay down the scale degrees to create chords. And here's where we're going to get into the chord types. I teach all this in Music Theory Essentials. That's a whole different course though. Just giving you guys like the source of where I'm pulling this from. It's like, I'm a scientist, so like whenever somebody tells me something, I want to know where the root is, and that's the root, the Music Theory Essentials. Okay. And I think, yeah, for Black Friday, you guys can use code 50. Okay, for 50% off. 50% off all my courses. Okay. So I want you guys to have the knowledge, because once you have the knowledge, you're like, wow, this stuff is way fun. Okay. Now that we know this, we're going to play E minor chords and then what's called a suspended second chord. So let's start there. Chas Smith Fly says, got Hercules and Beige Rage as a bonus when I purchased your courses and accelerated my FL experience. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to screenshot it off my phone because I forgot the screenshot command on PC. Shout out to Chas McFly. I appreciate that. I'm going to put that on Instagram since I have it on my phone. Thank you. is now I forgot what I was talking about. Okay, E minor into suspended second chord. Okay, let's play this real quick. That's what creates that orchestral type tension. So let's record this. I'm going to record for about 16 bars or so. Remember, we're at 128, which means we're in double time, meaning if I record a 2-bar thing in double time, it's really only 1 bar. So I need to go for about 16 bars to create 8 bars. If you guys ever have beat block, I'd recommend just recording ideas up for 8 bars. Okay, so again, if you're double time, which is like anything above 120 is basically double time, then you're going to record up to 16 bars. Okay, so that's why you guys have beat block. Your idea is a little too short most of the time. Twinkle says, this came at the exact right moment when I was feeling burnout. There you go. You're on the right frequency. Let's get the rockin'. Let me record this. We're playing E minor into E suspended second. Give me a second here. Of course, that would happen. My foot slipped and I hit the wrong button. All right, doesn't that always happen when we record? We just press every wrong button there is on the keyboard. Let's do this one more time. Here's a little safety thing I do. I like to right click my countdown, go to 2 bars. That gives me time to position my hands. Okay, so this technique does require what's called a sustain pedal. Jay Darude says, I just got through using the Drake 2 sounds and Hercules. You should email me, Jay. Email me. Oh, I didn't realize you said you're going to get hypnosis. Just email me at info@busyworksbeats.com and just tell me that you're from the YouTube chat, because I'll show you what I mean. Just if you could email me, that'd be dope. It doesn't have to be a long email, just like, yo, it's from me from YouTube. It'll remind me. Let's record this real quick. Pull that down an octave. I think that was too high of an octave. Let's hit control down. Yeah, there we go. That's the Travis Scott octave. Let's pull this back. Oh, freak. I didn't realize it recorded my old information. Let me do that one more time. Only because I didn't realize there was 2 MIDI things. Let's do this one more again. Let's turn the metronome on. So now we have the vibes down. So hopefully you guys are following my logic. It's a very step-by-step process, but whenever you get stuck in your workflow, just go back to these simple 9 steps. So again, we start with intent. The reason we're even making the song is we want to make a Travis Scott style beat. Now the BPM of Travis Scott, we have to either sing or rap like Travis Scott. So I was like, Mama, I'm home, home. That's usually his kind of bounce, somewhere around 128, 135. Then we said, okay, which scales or which keys do we pick from? Do we just copy old Travis Scott songs? That's where a lot of like producers who get in the industry don't understand, is that when you're making beats for Travis Scott's next album, chances are he doesn't want beats from his old stuff, unless it was like a hit song. Because if it's not a hit song, it didn't work. So he needs something new, but still in the vein of what Travis Scott would do. And that's why I always love artists like Kanye, Travis Scott, Tyler the Creator, Kendrick's album. His last album is insane. But the reason I like those folks is because they don't always resort back to what they already did. They're trying to discover the new sound for the next album. Drake, okay, perfect example. And so a lot of people can't think ahead. They're trying to copy what's already been done. And what I'm trying to give you is the keys on how to unlock future Drake or future Kendrick. And this is the process. So BPM, we picked that. We said Travis Scott speaks at now, chances are Travis Scott's not going to speak faster or slower anytime soon. You know, our natural kind of where our voice sits in a certain register. So chances are he's going to sing in a specific register. So that locks in specific BPM and scale information. Not to be all geeky, but I'm a scientist, y'all. I used to study pre-med, so that's why I go scientific with it. Now that we understand that, you know, another deeper layer to it is certain scales have certain emotions. So we said, okay, we're trying to make a rebellious or darker sound. So we're going to go with E minor or F minor because they elicit that energy. Not just minor or major chords, it's a specific root key. Then we move into chord types. Okay, so if I'm making a dark sound, I need a lot of tension. So I go from the minor third down to the suspended second interval, and that's what creates that tension, that half step. If we look at the MIDI, without teaching you guys everything about music theory, I teach that in my courses, which are hours and hours and hours long. You guys can go to busyworksbeats.com/music theory essentials. Use code 50 because we're doing 50% off for the Black Friday celebration. So I want you guys to get in, because once you get in and see the other side, you're like, wow, music is not the same. My YouTube, I can only go but so deep. So here is what's called the minor third. What up, Takshiel Beats, TB? What's up, Takshiel, if I'm saying that right? Okay, so we're going from what's called the minor third, which is 3 notes away from the root note. So it's 0, the root note, and then count up 3. 1, 2, 3. It's called the minor third interval. What separates the minor chord from the suspended second chord is that we're going to drop this minor third interval down a half step or 1 note. So now we're going 0, 2. So it's 0, 1, 2. That's the difference between the minor third and the suspended second. So we're still playing the top note the same. This is called the perfect fifth, by the way. Whenever you start at a root note, you count up 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It always gives you a perfect fifth. So the only thing changing is this middle note going down a half step. Takshiel says, I've been watching your channel since 3 years and it helps me a lot. Thank you. I'm going to screenshot y'all saying all this cool stuff so I can share it to Instagram. I probably should do it. I took the thing. Hold on. There we go. I took like a crooked screenshot. So let me redo that. Shout out to Chas McFly. I'm screenshotting your comment again. Boom. So that is why we picked the minor and the suspended second, is because it creates tension. And the reason we added these darker octaves is because we want to thicken up that dark sound, you know, enhancing the root key and the scale that we're actually in. So that's the combination that creates this quote unquote dark sound. Now that's why I started with harmony, because now from this harmony context, the darkness, the type of chords we use, now I can go into top line or melody making. So next, let's figure out which layer do we want to focus on: top line, contrast, or rhythm. So I like, since we have like a vibe going, let's open up another Hypnos plugin. Let's add a bass because I want that energy. I added a lot of like modern Travis Scott style basses in here. Let me see which one is the one. I think it's this one. So just that bitey, it grabs the ear, stands out of the mix. I know you guys are getting tired of 808, so I was like, how do we mix up the bass without it being just the 808? Let's record this. Now what I'm going to do in the bass, without boring you guys to tears, is playing the root note. Let me show you guys in the screen real quick. Hold up. So we're going to play what's called the root note, which is E. And then we're going to either play a half step up. What up, Tamashi? We're going to play a half step up and then bring it back down to E, because half steps want to resolve back down a half step. Tamashi says, you've gotten really better at explaining harmony concepts. Thank you. There's infinite things to learn about harmony. That's why I love it so much. It's just an infinite rabbit hole. I'm at the like very beginning stages, but thank you. So here's the root note. We go up a half step. That's one way to do it. Or we can go from the root note up 7 notes. So it's basically going up to B. So B, let me just show you guys on screen. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 will get you to the perfect fifth, which is called B. So whenever I'm trying to like jump around with the bass, I either go up a half step, down a half step, or I go up 7 notes or the octave. So here's what it sounds like. And that gives you about 4 notes to use and change up the energy with your bass. So let's record this. I'm probably not going to use that many notes on this one, but just giving you guys the science of a bass line. Okay, let's record it. Let's turn the metronome on. called tresillo. All right, so another thing I forgot to mention is what's called a tresillo pattern. Once you guys understand tresillo, you'll understand pretty much every genre. What up, Lake Champagne? We're starting off with Travis Scott just to kind of get the ball rolling, but we're probably going to create different styles. Depends on what you guys want to learn. And if it's in my wheelhouse, like I'm not going to make something I don't know how to make. So hopefully we have a crossover point. So here's the bass. Let me show you guys one pattern that you need to get used to. It's called tresillo. So drill uses a lot of tresillo. It's just at 144 BPM. That's drill. Okay. Afrobeat is doom. It's the same tresillo. Tresillo. Okay. Another tresillo is mob music. Boom, boom, boom. Tresillo. It's all tresillo. So the one pattern really to understand all patterns is tresillo, because once you understand that, you can really get into every genre. Drill. We went over Afrobeat, mob beats, even in trap beats. Boom, boom, boom. That's what we just did. It's called tresillo. It's not triplets. What's up, Joe? Why am I keep saying Jofus? What's up, Joseph Roberts? I appreciate you. I almost called you Jofus for some reason. But that's tresillo. What's another genre I could think of? We did trap. We did Afrobeat. We did drill. We did. I know I'm missing one genre in there, but basically tresillo is everything. Is what I'm saying. Let's quantize those notes. So once you have that down, boom, boom, down, you can move that around. It doesn't always need to start at the downbeat. So now that we have that kind of resonance bass, let's tuck it real quick. Let's add it to this track. And now that is our contrast layer. So as I add more instruments, a lot of you guys ask me for sound selection. I don't think of sounds as sounds. I think of them as layers. Like if I just Josephus. Oh, you know where I got that from? That's where it came from. In college, we had a friend. His name was like Joe something Nelly. I forgot his last name, but he was super smart. He studied like physics and chemistry and bio. It was some like mega science major. He wanted to be a dental surgeon, and he was super masterful, super smart. And he played piano. He was a master piano player, and he was my friend's roommate. And we would call him Josephus or something like that, or Joba. We would call him Joba. That's what we would call him, Joba Fett. But anyhow, that's where it comes from. Okay, moving forward. So now we have the bass, we have the harmony. Now we can unlock that top line or the melody. Now, most people on YouTube, they just teach you melody without any context. But melody really comes second or third when it comes to making your beats most of the time. Unless you're building your beat around a melody, which is a whole different process. But you still have to understand all these layers to really make a full beat. Layers like building Legos, yes. And I like to simplify melody making like this. Beat making like this. It just simplifies the process to these 4 layers. So as you guys will see over time, when I make it like a more complex beat, you will see me kind of arrange it based on how much activity happens in one category. YouTuber says, yeah, boom, boom, boom. Exactly. Oh, also, I forgot EDM. EDM also uses tresillo. What's up, DL? It's been a minute. I'm chilling, man. The only thing missing is the webcam, but we're not worried about that right now. But everything is in good energy. I appreciate you for popping in. But EDM uses tresillo too. It just goes, it continues. So instead of tresillo, or like instead of ta 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 tresillo, it continues. Meaning you gotta go like tresillo, tresillo. It'll keep going on. Anyhow, when we get to EDM, you guys will know what I'm saying. All right, so I'm explaining way too much. Let's just continue. Let's get this Travis Scott vibe. So now we need a top line of some sort. This plugin has a wide range of sounds. Mainly, you guys told me to focus on keys and strings. Okay, so that's the kind of where I focused in on the sound selection. Brass is also my favorite though, and bass. So really those are my favorite categories. Even the pads are super fire on this one. DL says, you know that Tony Black NYC has been wanting to get you on his show. Somebody, I don't know if it was you or somebody put it in my comments. I didn't see it because it was held. And for some reason, I checked my held comments one day and I was like, let me check my held comments. And they said the same thing. And then I put on Tony's channel. I said, yeah, I'm cool to hop on. Because, I heard it through word of mouth. I didn't hear it from him. I think I heard it from him once or something, but I wasn't being like political. It's just I couldn't go live. That's all. I just couldn't go live for a long time. For like 3 months, I couldn't go live. Not because of YouTube stuff. It's just because of the computer. Oh, it was you. Okay, awesome. Thank you for doing that. Because one day I just randomly checked my comments. It got held. I don't know why it got held, but I didn't see it initially because YouTube like put it on another category. And then I just randomly checked, and then it was like, so that was you. Okay, I appreciate that. Benjamin says, "What's up, man? I'm in high school and really want to pursue music production. I'm struggling with getting people to hear my music. Do you remember how you got your first placement?" I work with brands. I don't really, my first placement was really a person who watched my YouTube and then he just liked my stuff and we collabed on a beat. And then his cousin was the artist and his cousin happened to know this artist named Jasmine V, who came from like Disney Channel. So it was just really like random. It was no process, outside of me putting out YouTube videos. There was no process to it. I didn't sign a label, it wasn't like a process. But as far as what I would say is just make content first. I know people tell you not to do it, but really the short answer is when you make content, people get to know you before they know you. And it really helps like a lot. So that's my answer to you. Just start making content. As much as people hate to do it, it's the new game. One more question before I move to the next thing. He says he goes live on Fridays at 6. Another thing was, I spend family time at 6. So it's like bad timing. I've been trying to hook you guys up. It only makes sense. I would like you to help me. I would like you to help me somehow one day. So it makes sense. I like the liaison move. DL's doing a network move. So Benjamin, there's your answer. That's real world how you do it. So for example, let's use this as a teaching example. What's up, Haku Records? So for example, DL doesn't have anything that I would naturally buy from him. Like whether it's a sound, maybe he does. I don't know. I don't want to speak that into existence, but let's just say he didn't have anything. Like he didn't have a plugin I wanted. He didn't have a sound pack I wanted. He didn't have a beat that I wanted to record on. He didn't have a studio I wanted to record at. So he's like, okay, how do I add value to BusyWorks Beats? What does BusyWorks Beats need? BusyWorks Beats needs more people to know about him. So what if, and then he goes, okay, so who in his network has an opportunity to get a person wait, I said that backwards. So BusyWorks Beats wants people to know about him. Okay. DL says who in his network can actually expand BusyWorks Beats reach. Put it that way. I'll simplify it like that. So he doesn't own the platform of Tony Black, but he said, hey, Tony Black, BusyWorks Beats wants to expand his reach. You have a platform, you have a live stream, a media outlet basically. And then he says, hey, Tony, what do you need? Tony needs talent to pop up on his live streams to entertain the people or have conversations, or he needs expert speakers. So DL says, okay, I don't have anything BusyWorks needs directly, but I know Tony Black because I'm in his live streams all the time. I'm going to connect Busy with Tony Black just by commenting on both their channels to let them know what's up. So now that, Tony Black knows about Busy and vice versa, now we can cross that path to now going live with each other, which is value. And so DL just created value because he's trying to connect the dots, basically. He didn't have to create a thing, but what he did leverage is his awareness of two people's problems and how to solve it. So he paired a person with the problem and he found the solution, and he said, here's the person with the solution, here's the person with the problem, and vice versa. And that's how you can create value, even if you don't have an industry plaque or whatever. That's how this business works. Is like, that's what networking is. So shout out to DL is my point. And now I'm going to give DL credit for making the connection. Because before I heard Tony Black mention me, but I didn't think he wanted to hear about me or nothing. I just think he got offended. But so yeah, that's how you create value. Now, does that require a college degree? Not necessarily. Twinkle says, Benjamin, it's mostly about putting your name out there and getting to know people. Like, I'll tell you guys a small thing that will probably help you. And shout out to Benjamin. He says, that's such an awesome way to put it. I know I kind of went, it took 5 minutes to explain that, but here's one last thing before I move forward is in my neighborhood, I literally walk my son every day and I just smile at neighbors and say hi. Like every single day, I walk around, smile, wave my hand out of natural, like being a human, but just smiling, saying hi. Now, one day, a neighbor, their stepfather passed, unfortunately, RIP. And she stopped me in the street because she needed help picking up crates because she's on the older side. So she needed help picking up crates out the garage because she was about to take them to the vinyl store. And I was like, oh, you're moving vinyls? I was like, what do you plan to do with these? And she said she's going to take them to the vinyl store to sell these and possibly get like, 30 cents on the dollar for them or something like that. So I was like, I have a vinyl player that I've never used because I wanted to buy records, but I never had a chance to. And so I was like, I was like, if you're going to sell them to them, what if I bought them? And basically we negotiated right there, then and there. It took about 5 hours to do it because they were moving a lot of stuff around, but I now have about 200 to 300 vinyls like in my garage because I was smiling at neighbors, she only called me over to help because she knew me before. So like, she only trusted me because she saw me 1,000 times outside. So my point is like, that's what we're doing outside is what we have to do online. That's my point. I know I'm talking too much. So let's, people are going to watch this replay. Like, why did he go off on a tangent? But that's the real world for you. Okay. So I'll move forward for the sake of the people watching the replay. My apologies for going on tangents there. Let's create this top line. Random transition right now. It's like I want to talk to y'all like people, but now we got to transition into content. Yeah, Twanko says the energy we put out comes back to us. I agree. Yeah, I wonder, maybe I should do like a vinyl giveaway or something because I have so many. Like, I don't even know. It's so much to vinyl. I might do like a giveaway or something one day. But these things are like, I bought them for like pennies. And they're worth like $40 per vinyl. It's crazy. I didn't even know the value. I just was so excited to find vinyls. Let's add some guitar in here. So I do have guitar in Hypnos. Not to like sidetrack it. I'm sorry, yo. But here's some guitar. I'm going to add this as a top line. Usually top line, I want to start 1 octave higher than my harmony. So the top note is this. I'm going to go at least up to B, up there. So I want an instrument that sounds natural in the high frequency. Oh, sick. You like the sample? Do you use a turntable? There's a dude on YouTube. I forgot his name. I keep forgetting his name, but he's super crazy with the sample. If I remember, I'll pull it up. I bought his drum kit. It's not on this computer, darn it. But darn, I forgot his name. I always forget his name, but he's super fire. He's an MPC and he teaches people how to sample to sound like the 90s. And he's just crazy. He does scratches and everything. He's fire. Is it Jinx? I don't think it's, let me double check. It might be. I mean, shout out to them. I'm probably subscribed to who that is. Jinx. Let me search real quick. Y'all got me going on super tangents. Hold up. Jinx. Nah, never mind. Nothing's popping up under that name. But maybe. Okay, let's do the top line here. So we're gonna go 1 octave higher most of the time. Most of the time I'm going to play the chord type just spread out. So remember, our chord types were the minor chord and the suspended second chord. I'm really playing chords just spread out over time. I looked up Jinx. I don't think that's him. Jinx. Maybe type in Jinx sample tutorial. Hold on. Nah, that's not, nothing's popping up for me on under Jinx. It's showing a video game. But yeah, for the sake of the people watching the replay, I gotta be on target here, y'all. My bad. Benjamin says, I low-key just scour YouTube for old songs and make them into trap beats. I use the exact samples feature on FL Studio to take out vocals so it doesn't get crazy repetitive. That's a good technique. Removing the vocals is such a way to, if you know how to invert and flip the polarity of the vocal to basically remove it from a sample, it just sounds so, you can do so much with the sample. But yeah, YouTube stuff is usually higher quality. The cool part about vinyls is that it's not high quality. And that's the cool part. Or I mean, like the way I have it set up, I should say. All right, let me add this top line here. Pick a sound that better goes in this track. Hold on. Okay, let's record this. that's really the second chord we were playing, which is that suspended second. So these intervals I'm playing are really just coming from the chord progression I just played. It sounds more complex than what it is. It's really just the chords we played. I played E minor strummed, and then at the end, to create that different sound, I played the suspended second chord. Yeah, it is fun. Finding like obscure YouTube samples definitely is a whole thing. One thing about vinyls, I'm like, it's almost like time traveling. Like, I feel like our society went through some kind of event that just froze time or something. It's hard to explain. When I'm going through vinyls, I'm like, how are they this good in the 70s? Or like, how are they this fire back then? You start questioning like what happened to what happened to our society, really. Trying to find old songs on YouTube. Yeah, share your playlist if you have a playlist or anything. And the cool thing of Hypnos is it comes with the built-in effects for melody, so I'm going to use the reverb and delay for this, just to give it a vibe so it's more spread out. Now I'm going to swap out the bass sound only because it's being swallowed up by our chord set. One more thing is for this trap vibe, we're going to hit Alt Q. Let's quantize these notes. Now, because I played everything kind of with a brass tone, you play naturally ahead of the curve. And we're going to hit Control Q instead of Alt Q. Now, this could be tedious, so let me see how tedious we're going to make this here. Let me see here. Let's hit Control Q because this will lock it to the snap to grid. Let's do a half beat. Now, some of these notes are going to be super off, so I got to fix them. But the reason I'm doing this is because I don't want our rhythms to clash. Now, what separates amateurs from pros is understanding these small little rhythmic things do matter. Like 20 milliseconds of a time difference matters. I'm going to get to your comments in a second. Let me read your comments real quick. I love the sound of old samples or R&B and beats, but I struggle to find good samples. Any websites? Samplet is awesome for that. I don't know if you use that one. Samplet. That just... You find new stuff every day. If you use their filters, it's even better. Oh, jinx, like, okay, the phrase jinx, I got you. My brain just was like, I thought you were referring to the YouTuber. Okay. The sound of the old. Yeah, there's some rabbit holes. There's like samples that are just straight synth takes on YouTube. All right, so this is going to be boring, but I'm going to try to nudge all these notes on the grid to save time. What I might do is just do it for like 8 bars and then copy and paste because we don't have time to be adjusting individual notes. One thing you guys I would recommend for FL Studio, folks, is download from the ImageLine forums. It's called a piano roll. It's called a piano roll script. You want to look for the script called what's it called here? Remove overlaps. That's very important for when you record MIDI like this. You overlap your notes a lot. And what FL will do is mute the note if it's overlapped. So the reason I use remove overlaps is to get rid of any muted notes, basically. All right, so let's do, it doesn't look like we're doing too many edits. So let's fix what we can here. So we have to be a little on the grid with this because we don't want that to clash with that bass timing. Again, here's what separates kind of amateurs from the pros is understanding these small little time inconsistencies can add up over time to make your sound sloppy. So forgive the boringness of this. I promise you, it will make it sound better. Now, it does not mean quantize everything. Okay, so I want to be careful how I'm teaching here. Do not mean quantize every single thing. Give me a second, chat. I'm like, okay, so it looks like we did everything we could. We're just going to get rid of the other section here. You ever type something on the iPhone or your phone and then the phone corrects it but makes it worse? I'm like, I did not want to say ice cream. I was trying to say what's up. And the phone just corrects you completely wrong. It's like, that is not what I was even remotely trying to say. Okay, so now we're dealing with frequency overlap. What's up, EC? Isn't it just easier to highlight and quantize? I did quantize, but the way I played it caused it to quantize off the grid. That's what happened. I played the notes early because it's a brass sound. Robert Paul says, why have you been stealing content from other creators and not very producer president like? That's why you're getting blocked, because you don't understand much. Not dealing with that. When are you usually live? I'll be live a lot more, so you guys can see me live way more. I'll be live. Okay, so I know that took time. So what we're dealing with now is the bass overlap. Because we played, technically in the harmony, we played the contrast layer. So this is a more advanced technique, is allowing our bass sound to play something that we actually played in the harmony section. So instead of me playing these dual layers, we're gonna figure out where that bass sits, frequency wise, I should say. So it's going boo like that. What up, Joseph Roberts? Oh, you're talking about the other dude. So that bass is playing this E3 area. So what I'll do is I'll just rid all these bottom notes so that the bass does not overlap. Because what's happening is, the reason our mix is starting to sound muddy is the bass is trying to occupy, excuse me, our harmony section had a contrast layer inside. And this is why this layer system is so important. So that's gonna clear up a lot of room in the mix. Oh, peace out, Benjamin. No obligation to be here, y'all. Keep in mind, we're doing this also for the people watching the replay. So I don't want to hold y'all hostage, but I appreciate y'all for being in here. This is just a warm up. We're getting started. Let's swap out the sound. Let's try a different. I like this guitar. Let's try out a different brass. I feel like that bass is a little. Take it back to old Travis Scott. What up, freaking out? Lando, the land of the Lando. What's going on? It's been a minute. I've been live. Shout out to you. The ear of the streets. Lando's been finding talent, what, for like 4 years? I remember, I think it was 4 years ago. Pretty sure. Since 4 years ago. And he got the hands for the barber, from what I remember. Celeb barber, am I right? My memory might be going Joe Biden on this. I don't know. Shout out to you, dog. Appreciate you hopping in. Dazza says, signed into my Arteria, being offered the V collection for 150. Greetings from London. 3:44 a.m. on a windy night. So are you asking if that's a deal, Daza? V collection? What is V collection? I think that's all the synths. Yeah, celeb barber. There we go. My hair looks wild. That's half the reason why I'm not on the webcam. My hair is just, I've been focused for like 3 months on this plugin. I look like a werewolf. Saito says the sounds on that VST are insane. Thank you. Yeah, I really made sure like to lock in a sound. My other plugin was more rare sounds. This plugin is about sound itself, like the sound I'm going for. The Arteria collection for 150. I don't use a lot of Arteria stuff. I'm curious to see how many people use Arteria stuff, but I don't. I deleted it off my computer. My new producer is Popstar Benny. You got to tap in with his work. Popstar Benny. Let me see. Let me find him on Instagram real quick. Popstar Benny. Is that his Instagram? Popstar Benny. I have what you call screen time on, so I got to unlock my screen. Popstar Benny. Oh, there he is. Popstar Benny. DJ and platinum pop music producer, popstar.fm, Bear One Boss, Oasis out now, management, freaking out Lando. There we go. Okay, dope. He produces a bunch for Bear One Boss. I signed them both to Rick Rubin's publishing company. Oh, that's sick. Bear One Boss. I'm not familiar, so I might as well follow this guy too. Bear One Boss. There we go. So somebody was asking earlier, he's like, I'm a high school student. I want to get into music and all this. And I was like, you got to just put your face out there and just create value for people. So Lando basically just put me on. Like, I was not aware of Popstar Benny. I wasn't aware of Bear One Boss. So he's like, yo, Busy, I know you stay up with who's popping for the most part. He might be like, Busy, you're a little out of touch, but if you want to be popping, you should know Popstar Benny. So he puts me onto his producer, I almost said artist. I guess producer and artist. You got Popstar and you got Bear One Boss. So long story short, he's like, you need to be aware of these guys. So now my eyes open up. I go, oh, he's on the Lando camp. So is he. And now my obligation as a person who's in Lando's network, if I want to be the cool person in his life, I go, okay, when I come across opportunities or things that I see that could add value or increase their reach, or if I could play the song during the live stream on Fridays, whatever the thing is, I go, how can I increase the value of Lando's camp? So now it's like he hit me the volley over the volleyball court, or the volleyball net. And now it's my turn to volleyball back. So that's how, it's really that simple. Like, business is not really complicated. It's just, you got to know more people. Lick God Beats says, what's the most effective way to obtain the sample's key? If it were a sample, let me find a sample real quick. Because when you say key, you mean root key. So let me find. You put me on, excuse me. Yeah, Tizo is, well, I will be fair. Tizo popped up on my YouTube timeline at the craziest time. It was during the pandemic. I was feeling a little down and out because of just life stuff. And he made a song that says Strong Friends. Strong Friends. Check on your strong friends. Something. I forgot the name of this. I think it's Strong Friends. And it just hit my core. I was like, whoa, this song was meant for me. I'm like a person who's always deemed as strong and nobody checks up on me. So long story short, Tizo made that song. I connected with that. And I, checked out his whole catalog. It was just crazy. His sound was just way different. And then, but to be fair though, it popped up on my YouTube timeline. So YouTube kind of hit me with that one. But Tizo, yeah, I was like praying somebody would make him famous because that kid is just freaking, like, we need Tizos to be creative for this industry to move forward. But yeah, he's just super crazy. You said, okay, to obtain a sample's key. So let's pull up a sample real quick. Now, technically, let me show you actually a secret. This one's called Scalar 2. This is what I use a lot to find the key. Only thing is, it's not, I know I'm speaking like above your pay grade probably. The only thing is you can't tune this beyond 440 hertz tuning. I don't think. Maybe you can, but I don't know how to do it. Which means like, even if, so like if you pick up a guitar, you start playing it, it might not be at 440 hertz tuning. Okay, so same thing with any song. Like it doesn't mean just because you're playing the same notes on the keyboard that everything's tuned properly. Lando says networking is the key. Is key in this new game as being a producer, so we are teaching it. Or teaching. Yes. Yeah. The game is just know people. Really it is. I thought you are you gonna teach? I know, I'm sorry. I'm trying to teach a lesson about networking. So to find the key of the song, what I like to do is use Scalar. So I'll hit play. I'll hit record here, and then I'll press the keys on the keyboard. Oh, see, that's wrong. Let's remove that. Oh, see, I was wrong. Remove that. And that shows me the key. And then it says, okay, the scale is C sharp minor. I'm not ear trained to where I could just be like, yo, we're in C sharp minor. Like, it's impossible for me to do that right now. Maybe later in my life, but I'm not like Rick Beato level. So I use Scalar 2 to figure out the scale. Now, right, it is teaching, but to those who are unaware, they don't know how the game kind of works. Real quick though, every minor scale has a relative major scale. So technically you have two scales that you could choose from for samples. So in this case, we have C sharp minor, and then we have the relative major scale. It's a little bit advanced, but I teach this in my music theory courses, which goes way more in depth. I just don't have time to really break it all the way down right now. Okay, but that's called go to busyworksbeats.com/music theory essentials. And again, you guys could use the code 50 for 50% off. We're doing the Black Friday deal, just like everybody else. Alex Sanchez, what up, dog? But yeah, thank you, Lando, for popping in and put me onto two new folks I was not aware of. And I didn't even know Ruben had a publishing company. I'm new to all this industry stuff. I have no idea about half to 90% of what's happening. If you can carve out 30 minutes or an hour to make a live stream appearance on Tony Black's show, just let him know. You don't have to buy an MPC to sample your vinyl. Just connect it DI box to your interface. Dope. Yeah, I got to figure out if he goes live at 6. I spend family time from 6 to 8 because we put our son down at 8. So if he's still live after 8, that's when I'm more available. But right at 6 is kind of like family time. Networking is definitely the key and having the right contacts. I've had big artists ask me to pay them to hop on a track. Maybe you should, because then you'll be seen. But it's a gamble, though. No guarantees. Good question about the sample. Found Tizo on the pandemic. Shout out to Tizo. I almost said shout out to the pandemic. Good Lord. Shout out to Tizo is what I meant to say. How do you say it? Jukasi says, I probably said that wrong too, but you put me on so much, gang. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Firstly, because you didn't have to be here, but you chose to be here. I appreciate that. I thought he was. Okay, so I was just kind of, sorry, we went into the business realm for a second. So that's how I find the key of a sample. So now when I play those notes, what is it? C sharp, D, E, F. When you play real keys, you can kind of see it as a pattern, but if you're looking in your DAW, that's how I figure out the keys. So now I'm going to play this and play my keyboard. And now I can try to freestyle, you know, the melody or whatever. That's how you find the key of a sample. Hopefully I didn't miss anybody's question. But yeah, maybe we'll do a sample beat next. I just try to avoid the YouTube thing. Usually stays on for 3 to 4 hours, so you may be right about attending after your family time. That's smart. Hopefully he's okay with that, because I'm not trying to be like a diva. It's just I didn't have my computer to go live. I think he thinks I'm being like antisocial, whatever. It's just I didn't have a computer to do it. Daza says Antres has an excellent free. Yeah, you could try those key finding things, but the problem with those is that it's hard for those things to detect pitch dives and like pitch. Like if I pick up my guitar and I do a pitch slide, like "oing" like that, those scale detectors might confuse the root note. So I try to avoid those because it's only like 70% accurate. And also you got to think about key modulation and all that type of stuff. Which do you like better, Sublab XL or Subfactory? I've never used either, so I can't comment. But okay, let's finish this little idea and then let's move to the next one. Okay, so I think we were going through brass sounds. That's where we kind of left off. You said gamble for sure. But if I'm not even making money from music at the moment, could be paying $250 for a vaulted track, or for them to not even post it. They actually wanted me to pay for their iMessage. To DM them, that's kind of crazy. I mean, if you can get a guaranteed song, and then I would negotiate, hey, I want the actual track, the MP3 or the multi-tracks. That's what I would purchase. So even if they don't post it, you could post it to show proof that you actually did something. That's what I would use it for. I paid songwriters before just to write songs over beats, not to sell the beat, but just to show people like this is the skill that I'm demonstrating. So to demonstrate beat making, sometimes you have to do more than make a beat. You have to actually get a songwriter on it to demonstrate your process. So I paid songwriters more than that to be on one song before. So it just depends. Not saying everybody has it though, so. Let's get these levels right here. I think the brass needs to be a little more aggressive. Let's hit Alt X, turn up this multiply. There we go. Now we're getting that bright articulation out of it. I might change out the bass too. To just reach out, bro. You may find them to be flexible and willing to accommodate for your schedule. Just reach out in the comment section. Are you talking about Tony? Yeah, I'm gonna join the live now that I know that you, and I'll definitely credit you, because That's what we call the liaison, the deal maker. That's what the D in DL should stand for, deal maker L. DL equals deal maker. Tony Black. So I'm writing a note here to credit you. Hopefully this note is in front of me by the time I go live. But I have a note there. So God hopes that I see that note when I go live with Tony. It's giving Metro Boomin. Not that it's giving. That's what made that funny. It's giving. Do sampling like Dr. Dre skills. Okay, we'll do that next. How about that? I know I'm moving a little slow, but I was trying to there's 3 months of stuff I wanted to tell you. Hello from Romania. Shout out to Harisku Stefan. Shout out to you for being here. Northside Ghost is here. What up? Yeah, please clip me saying I will credit you because you deserve the credit for that. Microphone controller, as Rakim said. And their DJ. I'm missing some context. I forgot what we were talking about. Having a Biden moment. Let me stop before I manifest that by accident. So now we need to find a bass that actually fits this kind of vibe. Let's go through some bass sounds here. You were in the Kyle Beats video? Hold up. Which one? The last? Wait, no. The beat battle one? That'd be sick if that was you in the beat battle. Hold up. Kyle Beats. People watching the replay can you please get to the next step? Oh, man. Let me see, though. Dang, I got 100,000 views in one day. Sheesh. Hold on. I got YouTube with the ads on, so it's taking a minute. Okay, let me see. Oh, yeah. Umair's beats were nice. Somebody said in the comments. Oh, that was you in the beat battle? Okay, sick. Well, he just connected the dots. So now, this is what I'm saying. You guys got to, not you, Umair, I'm talking about everybody else who was asking about how to get out there. It's we got to make content. I wouldn't know about Umair if he didn't tell me, hey, I'm in the Kyle Beats video. And then Kyle Beats, I happened to watch that one video. I usually don't really keep up with everybody's videos, but that one caught my eye. I thought it was a funny idea. And then I watched the video. And Umair's like, yo, the video you just watched, I'm in it. So I went back to the video. Now I'm going to have more awareness and energy behind Umair's presence now that he showed me he's in that video. All he had to do is be like, yo, I made this content or I'm in that content. That's business right now. So over time, if Umair ever put out a kit, a plugin, some kind of course, live stream, live event, he's going to be on my radar to try to figure out how to help him. So that's how business works. For everybody wondering, it's not this complex thing. That's really how simple it is. You just got to be on people's radar. And the way to do that is this. Like I said, I go outside every day. I smile at my neighbors and I wave. That's it. You do that 30,000 days in a row. They're going to be like, oh, I know that guy. He smiles. Sorry, I'm taking us on tangents here. My last tangent, I promise. When I took my son out trick-or-treating, I saw neighbors that I've never seen before. And they were like, hey, you're the guy that walks your son every day and smiles. I was like, oh, I am. I didn't know that was you. Because they see me more than I recognize them. That's all life and business is just being seen over and over and over and over. One of Trippie Red's friends wanted me to pay him $250 for an iMessage. I've been trying to find my sound. Was making Rage at the time, but now I'm trying to make plugin B for Underground. Just says songwriters and singers. And now I got some cool engagement because of it. There you go. I'm going to follow you on Instagram just because you were like, yo, I'm in the video. Now I'm going to follow him so that I can remember that he's on my radar. Because if I forget, my brain, only has but so much capacity. Oh, see, he already follows me. So now I'm like, okay, cool. He already followed me. Now I'm following him. And we have 11 mutual people. That's how life works. It's just if you're a cool person, you do cool stuff, chances are people are going to want to be around you. That's it. The DOC follows you. That's pretty big. Shout out to him. I said I was going to try to finish this beat. I'm going to try. BandLab, I messed with it. They were asking me for some sponsored content. I don't use it on the daily. I'm more an FL guy. But I definitely did some sponsored stuff with them. I hear mixing engineers talk about Dolby Atmos, maybe for the film industry, but for consumer, I do not see people investing in an Atmos listening environment. Like I just don't. We're in the headphones, left ear, right ear environment right now. Like people barely want virtual reality glasses, let alone an Atmos set up in their house. So for me, yeah, you might get higher end clients for like film and movie stuff, but for the average consumer, as far as music goes, I don't really see Atmos being a thing. As far as like music, I just don't. That's me personally. You know, we only have two ears, so I don't. I mean, yeah, that's my theory. I could be completely wrong 10 years from now. Who knows? But just logically, I just don't see like people investing all that equipment just to be like, because the only way to consume it is to blast your music. What if you just want to have your headphones on and listen to Atmos? It's still headphones, like at the end of the day. So that's my own. I think it's pushed a little heavily because they just want the technology to be bought. Let me figure out what I could add to this beat. I've been talking and I kind of lost track of where we were. Okay, so we're just going through bass sounds right now. I know it's taken forever to get this beat done, but I was trying to teach every little step. Now, what we can do, this is a little more advanced, but every time the bass hits, I want it to cut out the low frequencies. So I'm going to route the bass to the brass. We're going to open up Pro Q3. I know I'm getting a little advanced, so just don't try to memorize all this. We're going to add what's called a low shelf. So anything below, let's say 200 hertz, I want that to go down in volume every time the bass hits because I want the bass to dominate this zone. To set this up, we need to create what's called dynamic range. Let's do 6 dB of dynamic range here. We're going to put this on auto mode and click this little button here. I forget what this stands for, the external sidechain button. Go to your settings, go to processing, right click, and select your bass from the input as the stereo sidechain. So now every time this bass hits, it will turn down the volume of the brass. So now they can both live at the same time, and every time that bass hits, it will just make sure it has enough space. You should do EDM. I gotta practice EDM. I gotta practice. I can't grasp like what. I guess it's my sound selection, but yeah, I gotta study EDM a little bit more, a lot bit more actually, not a little, a lot more. But a great channel for EDM is Alex Rome. I love that guy's stuff. He used to contribute to this channel years ago. He's amazing. Like he simplifies the EDM to just on a masterful level. He's a real teacher. Shout out to him. All right, so I don't want to lose people on the replay, so I gotta at least finish this idea, then we'll move to whatever you guys want to see next. Let's figure out a top line here. So we're just gonna do basically the suspended second chord. That's really just a suspended second chord with a minor third in it. I'll show you in a little bit. Your question was, how do you remove vocals from a sample with phase cancellation, if you know how? Yeah, I did that in, I'm trying to think what video that was. That was a while ago, but I'll show you next beat, or in this next beat. Stranger is a good teacher for DMB. Make sure I'm subscribed to Stranger. Hold up one sec. I think I am, but let me just double check. Stranger. So is real quick, since we have somebody who knows the genre. Oh yeah, I'm subscribed to Stranger. Shout out to him. Okay, dope. He has a lot of videos. Real quick to Daza. I'm ill-informed, so I need your help actually. When it comes to EDM, I know that's probably like an ancient term because I heard people call it IDM, intelligent dance music, and I know I'm out of the loop. So do people call it EDM anymore, or do they call it by like the subgenres like house, progressive house? I don't even know what people listen to. DMB, drum and bass. Like, what is the thing? Do they call it future trap anymore? Do they call it like future bass? Like, what are the names that I should be studying, if that makes sense? because I don't think people call it EDM anymore. I think I'm out of the loop. What up, Hayden Hill? Africa Bombada. So next beat, we're going to do a sample beat. Take it back to the hip hop stuff. It's a mix of both. It says EC. Because I love some house songs on Love Island when the house beats come on. They don't even call them beats. They just call them like house tracks. Like they don't even call them beats. Okay, so EDM is still like, they still call it EDM. Okay, I was just double checking because I've noticed people calling it by like the subgenre more so. Rhythm. Okay, shout out to Travis Turner. I'm gonna write this down. You said house rhythm. DMB house. See, I could learn from y'all more than I could learn from myself. House rhythm DMB and future whatever. Future trap, future bass, Flume. I think people study people more than like a genre maybe. Okay, so now that we have the top line, we have the contrast layer, we have the harmony section. Now it's up to the rhythm. This is usually where I insert the drums. Some people do rhythm first, like Metro Boomin. He might do his drums first. For me, drums, like my music should move before my drums should move. I should be able to have my music move without any drums. That's just my approach. But sometimes drums first, I do get a different type of result. Bass house is a new genre. Bass house. I used to love when they would invent a genre every day. It'd be like future trap house rhythm. It would just like, they would combine all these words to create genres like every day. I think people got bored of that. Dance hall. Denver likes rhythm. Shout out to Jukasi from saying that right. Dance hall. That's one topic people keep asking me to do, but I'm not of the culture, so I feel like an outsider. UK bass garage, future garage. Now I do love some garage, like triangle sounds. Future garage. UK bass garage. Okay, I'm writing all this down. Thank you. Juices. Okay, there we go. Juices. My fault. Juices. I gotta practice. I gotta practice. That's funny. Reggaeton. Now let's find some drums. I'm gonna move fast through the drums because you guys do drums every single day, so I'm not gonna bore you with like stuff you already know. But remember, we have beginners watching this stuff too, so I gotta make sure I'm educating folks. Basically, with drums, it comes down to tresillo, and the snare is the most important like element for timing and genre. What a Raw Dan Beats says dance hall please. I keep getting that one, but a lot of dance hall out here is very like live music. I'm wondering how you guys can translate that into a DAW, but we'll see. All right, so for the hi-hats, I'll usually just click over here. Whoops. I'll right click, fill each 2 steps. This creates like a metronome for the drums basically. And then a Metro Boomin technique / Travis Scott is go to your wrench tool, turn up time shift just a little bit, just so it's not perfectly squared up to the grid. Creates a little bounce. Cumbia. You guys know words. I don't even know what words those are. Juices. I gotta get used to saying that. Juices. Trap dance hall. Oh, gotcha. With like the screaming, but I read them, that type of stuff. Okay, we're gonna put the snare on the 3 and the 7 count. If you don't know how to count music, turn the metronome on. Basically, every time it hits, it's a heartbeat. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're gonna put the snare on the 3 and the 7. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, modern trap though, you can move that snare around a lot. You can put it on the 3 and the 6, the 3 and the 5, the 3 and the 8, the 4.5 and the 7. You know, you can move the snare around a lot, but for the most part, trap is this 3 and the 7 count of the metronome. Julius and Caesar. Okay, now that makes sense. Explaining your name definitely helps, because I was like, I didn't know if it was a French name or what. Julius Caesar. I might just call you Julius Caesar. That's a little bit easier. Rolls off the tongue. For months, I've been wondering how old school rappers removed from using EQs. Some of them had access to the masters. So if you hear a really clear sample and you're like, how did they solo that a cappella? It's either they had access to the actual label's recorded tracks, like in the vault, or a lot of DJs would have acapellas for DJing. So they would either have like the instrumental stuff with the acapella or vice versa. That's how they would get their hands on acapellas and stuff. They would actually have a separate recorded, tracked out version for DJs. So that's how they got all those high quality acapellas. People weren't using like vocal removers to get that quality. What up, Ken? You said don't call you Julius Caesar. That's funny. Juice is just hard to remember though. That's my dance hall beat, and I learned a lot from this channel. Awesome. Okay, so let's put the snare in. Now, I talked about Tresillo earlier. Whenever you guys are stuck, try Tresillo. So it's Tresillo. Okay, you probably can't hear me over the horns. So it's Tresillo. Follow the bass. If you guys don't know, just follow the bass. So it's Tresillo. Tresillo. That's what's creating that bounce. And if you guys don't believe me about the Tresillo thing, if you listen to Kendrick Lamar's latest album, the Mustard track is basically Tresillo all the way through. It's just the same. That's how you get that bounce in your beat. Now we can add a little double kick to create like a Metro Boomin or a Travis Scott. So it's like boom, 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 boom. Okay, so just a little double kick to make it a little bit bouncier. Oh yeah, I was wondering what you meant. I was like, what? Yeah, links on here just are they don't work. Make a house or jungle beat. I don't know it enough. I appreciate the request. I don't know jungle enough. I don't want to be a hack. I could make house to a degree, but I don't know how to like get it to sound the way they do on TV and stuff. I haven't practiced enough. I need to practice way more for house. But I could show you some chords. That'd be fun. Now let me quickly, I gotta run through this. I'm gonna quickly do this. We're gonna add a Fruity Soft Clipper, turn the threshold all the way up. We're gonna add a Fruity Wave Shaper. This is kind of like my mixing sauce to make anything sound better. Fruity Wave Shaper, add a subtle curve. We're gonna go to the settings here. Turn the mix level to about 50%. Oversample, 4 to 8x could work, doesn't really matter. And then we're gonna mess with the pre-level to crank the volume up into the wave shaper. So basically we're adding frequency content to the beat to make it sound more full. Now the more mix you add to this plugin, the more crushed the sound will be. So you gotta be careful with this mix now. Now, the thing about the brass sound in general is that it's playing delayed because brass takes time to build up to what's called the transient. So because I quantized the brass, it feels sluggish. Okay, so this is why being a pro producer is about knowing timing. I'll be streaming more so Rose. I just finally got the computer working. It took 3 months, so I've been off for 3 months just trying to get this computer to work right. So I'm going to nudge the audio a little to the left. So now the transient hits at the downbeat as opposed to like be at, you know, behind the downbeat. Now we have that energy back in the bounce. Now we can stir up the hi-hats. That's like our metronome. Let's add a couple glitches here and there to make it a little more glittery. So usually I add them like 1, 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and like right here. We can highlight this, hit Alt U to chop that up. I learned that from Chop Squad DJ. Shout to Amen. Appreciate you. I'm gonna screenshot that. I'll put it on almost at Twitter. I'll put it on Instagram. Let me get a good screenshot. Thank you, Amen. Appreciate ya. So now I'm going to quickly move through this beat so we can move to the next beat because we've been on this one for a good, how long have we been streaming? Does it tell you? Where does it tell you? Scheduled for 10, probably an hour. Let me see. Yeah, we've been live for an hour. Okay, I need to move to the next beat. Oh my goodness. Got to move to the next beat. Some sauce free game, use Looperator or Effectrix on your hi-hats if you have it. Looperator, do I have a Looperator? Let's check. Looperator. I feel like I've never downloaded that plugin. Looperator. Darn, I don't have it. What was the other one? Effectrix. Let's see. I might on the PC. I have a lot of plugins I forgot I had. Darn, I don't have Effectrix. So is that like the glitchy one that glitches everything up? 75 minutes. Dang, I've been talking about the same trap beat for 75 minutes. We're gonna get into advanced stuff next. I didn't forget the guy who asked how to make sample beats and remove the vocal using interpolation. Is there any beat software you know of that is free that you can practice for making beats? FL Studio's free. They have a free version. Maybe I'm not getting the question fully, but yeah, the new, what I like about FL is the new version. I'm pretty sure I'm in FL 24, I think. I'm pretty sure I'm in FL 24, but the new one has, if you click on the control, yeah, here it is. I go to note repeat. I like this a lot because it does rolls that I normally wouldn't do. Chord gadget. I have that on my iPad, I think. Let me see if I can freestyle real quick. Let me see if my auto-tune even works. On my Mac, my auto-tune doesn't work, so I can't use it. Whoa, auto-tune works. Let's go. Now my son is asleep, so hopefully I don't wake him up with this terrible crooning here. Let's do low mel. We're in the key of, what was it? I forgot the key. C sharp minor. So let's do C sharp. I'm about to act a fool with this auto-tune on the PC. Are we about to act a fool? Effectrix and Looperator are from Sugar Bytes. They're not on my radar like that. Drawing a bass line. Yeah, we get to the house thing. That'll be fun to draw on a bass line. I had the real free version until it made me pay for it recently. You had the real free version? Oh, I see what you mean. The update. Yeah, they forced everybody to update. That was so whack. Sorry, I'm going on tangents. But basically, FL Studio just randomly decided to just refresh everybody's license. So I logged in one day and it like made me re-log in and all this. They clearly did it for Black Friday. But I was like, wow, all my settings were gone, like all my like default settings. I'm like, why would they do this? This is not a good thing. But yeah, they need to like figure out a way to not have to reset everybody's settings and stuff, because that is not cool. What's the difference between trap and drill? Trap is really, drill is like the snare, the hi-hat placement. So it goes ta 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 like that, and it's at 144 BPM. Trap doesn't necessarily use that rhythm. We can do a drill beat later, maybe. How about that? I don't like, I hear auto-tune, but I feel like I'm not on auto-tune. Hold on. Check. I feel like I'm not on it though. Maybe because I'm hearing myself. Alright, let's just record some nonsense. Split. I've been on it all night. Oh, why'd I feel out of key? Ooh, something's out of key there. Let me double check. I've been on it all night. Why is that out of key? That's not the right key. So that note right there. Something is wrong. Okay, so we need to figure out what happened there. Sometimes though, trying to lock in vocals can be difficult. I don't want to waste time trying to do bullcrap actually, because this will take up too much time. I already feel it. So what I'll do is I'll let it say it's lit, and then that's it. We're just gonna forget about the verse. It's lit. And then you just add a bunch of delay and reverb to it, and that's how you get the Travis Scott sound. Scalar is a great plugin by Plugin Boutique. I think it's really good, really well done. I think they have a Black Friday sale on it, pretty sure. Let me play this beat one time and then we'll move to the next, I promise. But the free version only allows you to do limited things. True. But I have a video on how to get around those things on my YouTube. Not with any illegal stuff. I just show you guys how to like save stuff, record stuff, so that you can actually open it back up. It's lit. I realized why the auto-tune was working weird. It's because I think I had it in the wrong range. Why is this? This is not right. 600 beans. Baritone Jones. He done did it again. Going to sleep soon, but excellent work. Thank you. I appreciate you for doing that. You actually helped us reach a goal. I was trying out this goal thing just to see if it worked. You just made us reach a goal, Barry. Thank you for that. We reached a whole goal because of Barry's kindness. And I appreciate that. Barry Tones Johnson's going to sleep soon, but excellent work, fam. I'll catch the rest in the morning. Yeah, I agree. We spent way too long on this one beat. Let's open up a new beat and just start fresh. All right, now we're going to get into some sauce. All right, so that was the beginner stage. I know all the people who are intermediate to advanced are like, can you move on? But we have a lot of beginners who watch these videos. So this one's going to be more advanced. And I'll show you guys some high-level stuffs. So firstly, let me save this real quick. And I'll get back to the chat. I kind of lost track of the chat. Fruity Loops, I want to see you draw a bass line. You said we're going to do house music, sample music. I have the real free version. Trap and drill. So remind me, we have trap and drill, we have house music, and we have the sample thing we're going to do. Oh. Beat 2. Let's do this. They make me do it. He said it's in key if you're creative enough. That's funny. That's how Future records. He's just like, hit record. I don't care what key I'm in. We'll make it the key. All right, so first question was, how do you remove vocals from a sample? So let's first get a sample that has vocals in it. Is there a way I can assign knobs to an Akai Mini to record transitions or changes? Yeah, basically in FL Studio, whatever you want to control, as long as you first go to options. Let's start here. Let's go to MIDI settings, and then you got to have an input, and then make sure you hit enable for your controller. What the heck, Pizza Head? So you got to turn this input on. Okay, turn it on enable. So now all your knobs and stuff should work. Now from here, anything you want to automate, you just right click, and that you can't automate that knob. So let's right click, you link to controller, and then you move whatever the thing is on your keyboard. So I'll move my pitch wheel real quick. Also make sure this says Omni and auto detect right here. So now when I move my pitch wheel, it will move this specific knob. And that's how you can modulate stuff over time or automate it over time. All right, so that is that. I don't want that to control that, so let me unlink that so it doesn't mess anything up. How do you remove links? I don't even know. I don't know how to remove it, so hopefully it removed it. Let me see. Nope, still linked. All right, let's start a new track because I don't even know how to unlink that. I don't want that to F up anything. Travis Turner. I used to have a friend in elementary school. His name was Travis. What was his last name? Travis Darney? Travis Darney, I think his name was. Wow, that you pulled out such a random thought. Travis Darney. Shout out to Travis Darney. Hold on, stream. Let me save this to this new folder, live stream 2. All right, so everybody who was patient, you will now get gems. Okay, gem mode, here we go. I'm here, craziest thing is, first time in a live event. Truly, I learned how to use FL Studio from this guy. Some very key ideals. Thank you, I'm gonna screenshot that, thank you. I'll put that on Instagram, CEO Music Beats, LLC. Rawdon says, I think you're better than Metro. Metro has more what do you call it? More power than I do. He has a lot of power. Lot of power. Is there a way I can, okay, so I'm 33. Jesus' age, 33. When recording live melody, is there a way to quickly erase it, then hit spacebar to record? I just hit Control Z. Now on the FL Key 37, there's an actual undo button, which makes it so much faster, but I'm not using that right now. But yeah, the FL Key 37 has it built into the actual keyboard. All right, so the first thing I promised was to remove acapella, the vocal. So these are AI samples, so so YouTube doesn't trip out. Okay, so what we need to do first is use, how do I explain this? We need to remove the vocal from the sample and then flip it to its negative, so that -1 meets +1 and they cancel out. What's up, the best? Yeah, I'm black. I love being black. It's the best thing in the world. Love it. Love it. So we're gonna take, hold on. We're gonna basically, the song is +1 vocal. We're gonna take the vocal out and make it -1, so that when the +1 meets the -1, it actually cancels out. So everything else is just the beat and the background music. So this is a lot cleaner way than using like just stem extraction, which most people teach you guys how to do, because stem extraction makes the rest of the music of a lesser quality. So what we'll do to do this is duplicate it. We're gonna make this unique. And in FL Studio, we're going to go here to the top left, go to extract stems from sample. We only want the vocals in this case. It'll save on CPU and time. Let's hit extract. Now this will take, you know, I recommend you only do this for clips that are like 4 to 8 bars. Anything longer will take forever in FL Studio. So try to keep this to 4 bars when you guys are trying this. All right, so now that we have the vocal extracted from the sample, and what we're going to do is double click on this vocal. We're going to reverse the polarity. So now we're taking the +1 and we're making it -1. Okay, so now -1 + 1 equals 0. Now what this will do is cancel out the vocal and then leave just the rest of the audio. So now you guys have the cleanest background instrumentation. I only use stem extraction if I super have to, for the instrumentation and the drums, because currently stem extraction on drums, bass, and instruments is not very good. It just creates this like film over the sound and it does not sound high quality. So this is the way to get the highest quality instrumental or background, simply by taking out the acapella and then flipping the phase just like that. That is very advanced, but that's how I would do it. The best drum kits are on Reddit. Reddit has a lot of drum kits. So what I recommend to folks is look on Reddit, because you want to look for genre kits. Like if you wanted to make Philly drill, you'd look up Philly drill drum kit Reddit. Some kid figured out all the sounds in that genre. They're like master sound selection folks. You know, it's like their version of a video game, picking out sounds. So Reddit has the best curation of kits I've ever found. And it put me onto a lot of dope people. So I'm here. Craziest thing is first time. Let me make sure I'm keeping up with the chat. Take a swig of water real quick. It's been a minute since I was live streaming. I live streamed 3 months ago. So I'm getting used to this workflow again. 1 second as I clear my throat real quick. Pause. All right. So I think I promised house music and then drill, because somebody said what separates drill from house. I don't know. It's hard to pit me up against Metro. Metro kind of has a lot of firepower, a lot of hits. So it's hard to really compare. I recorded melody and I didn't like it. I didn't maybe delete the notes. I just hit Control Z most of the time. Suggest me some best drum kits. So again, Reddit's the best place for that. Control Z. Yeah, I don't mean to be like simple, but that's what I do. I just hit Control Z. Or I just start a new pattern and just kind of do it from there. Right, no doubt. Is that phasing? It's called flipping the phase. Yeah, we are flipping the phase. The polarity, I should say. Let's say that. The phase and polarity. The last beat reminded me of this crap I took yesterday. Okay. I usually save all my beats in a folder for each beat. Can you show how you correctly save a beat after you're done with it? I'm not as organized on this computer, but one thing that did help me is saving stuff by the date, and I'll show you guys why. Let me see here. So my new kind of file system is I'll do big bucket thing. Like, let me just show you my drive real quick. So here's my hard drive. I'll have a folder called projects. You could have a folder called beats, for example. Next folder is FL Studio projects. So then I'm starting to narrow it down by category. So I'll do big bucket thing. Shout out Making Hip Hop. Yeah, shout out to Reddit. The Reddit stock went crazy. I should have bought when it IPO'd. I just thought it was not worth it because they weren't making money. So I was like, why am I going to put my money in a company not making money? But their stock went from $40 on IPO to like $150. It's crazy. I was dumb. I just didn't trust the Reddit stock though. Anyhow. Okay, so in the, the drive, I have the projects folder. Then I go FL Studio projects. Then I'll do it by the date. So I'll do the year first. Then I'll do the month and then the day. The reason I do this is because when I'm sorting through a lot of files, I want to have the year first because now I can sort based on name and everything will be properly like in its order basically. So anyhow, everything separated by the date. Then I do project folders, and then inside the project, I'll have all the specific components for that project. So I take that same philosophy into my beat making and stuff. Or whatever it is, software, whatever it is, same exact process. Hopefully you can find some tips in there. You said longer songs with the vocals will take forever. On the stem extraction, yeah. If you're using the stem extraction, it takes way longer. So you gotta be careful with that stem extraction thing. In FL Studio. Free drum VST, Sennheiser Drumica. Never heard of it. That sounds like you should make a YouTube short or a reel on that. Well, I don't think anybody's ever heard of that plugin. You should make a short on that. All right, so nextly, let's make a sample beat because I think I said I was gonna make sample stuff. Let's do sample / drill. How about that? We're gonna sample something and then we're gonna turn it into a drill bass. So drill again is really about the BPM, which is 144. And it's about the hi-hat timing. Now, I learned this from J Cactus. They have something called a counter snare. So instead of like this whole snare is like, it's like a low end and a high end at the same time. You said, can I share a blessing with you and your audience? Oh, for sure. DL he's the deal maker. He's the Bloom blessing. What was I going to do? I'm going to say Loom, not Bloom. Okay. But let me show a counter snare real quick. Here's a snare. Now we're going to go to the envelope section. We're going to go here, switch this to a high pass filter. We're going to cut out all the low frequencies. So they don't really use hi-hats. They use what are called counter snares. And we're at 144. And we're going to do what's called tresillo. Tresillo, tresillo, tre. We're going to repeat that. Let's go to pattern mode here. We're just repeating that same pattern. Tresillo, tresillo, as this repeats over and over and over again. That's what drill is as far as sound selection and their drum rhythms. Now, the modern kids will like glitch the hi-hats and all that, but this is the core rhythm. You can finesse it however you want, but I personally just like to keep it simple. Unless I have to add hi-hat glitches. Maybe I'll make this unique. We'll add a hi-hat glitch. Now, luckily in FL Studio 24, you can go to the graph editor, go to the repeat tab, and now I can quickly add little glitches here. So I glitched that like middle note. Okay, so you can add little glitches here and there. So that way it spices it up over time. Do you feel like, or do y'all feel like to be a great producer, you need a MIDI controller? I mean, depends on what you consider a super producer or a great producer. I mean, who are some great producers for you? Juicees. That's hard to say. It's kind of like you're cutting out all the meat of Julius Caesar. Juicees. Hard to say. I watch guys program hard in Reason with a normal computer keyboard, others with several MIDI controllers. Huh. You gotta let me know who's a great producer in your eyes. Maybe that'll help me. Okay, so that's drill. Now let's find a sample. I'm gonna try to use stuff that's not like on this computer I have like nothing on here. So I gotta work with what I have. I'm trying to avoid like major samples. I think this one might work. Alright, so what I like to do now is drag my, can you hear me? Okay, I like to drag my samples into the playlist This gives me a lot more range to do stuff. So J Dilla, Metro, and Madlib. I don't think J Dilla I mean, maybe he played. It's a great question. I don't know how he programmed the bass, but he was definitely on the pads. So that's a MIDI controller technically. You know, Metro does the same thing on the MPC. Technically, MPC is a MIDI controller as well. And then we have Madlib. I don't know Madlib's style, probably on the MPC too. So they use a lot of all those people you named used MPC, which is basically a MIDI controller with drum pads. That's basically what it is. But it also controls audio. I'm not just trying to simplify it. It's just a drum pad approach to MIDI controller. So yeah, I would say if you're going to go that route, you need to find something that has what's called the velocity sensitivity. The reason the MPCs and the machines are so popular is because the 16 levels of velocity. I didn't understand this until I started using my machine again. The reason they get so much of a dynamic sound is because it's not just playing four, like boom, boom, boom. It's not just playing 1, 2, 3, 4. It's playing like boom, 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 all the way up to like the heavy kick. And so you get a lot of nuance that you normally don't get with just playing with any other MIDI controller. So long story short, it's because of the velocity. 16 levels, as they say, as Ab McCree says. 16 levels. Shout out to his company. How old were you when you started producing? I was 14. A friend in my history class, his name was John. I forgot his last name, but he talked about Cakewalk back then. And then I think I learned about Mixcraft. And then somebody put me on the FL. I think the internet put me on the FL. And then from there, it was just kind of like, I recorded people over my house. It was so bad. I mean, the records are cool, but it was just we were recording on like a Walmart microphone, like the little pencil microphones. It wasn't even a real microphone. And it was just a mess, but that gave me experience. And I said, I like making beats way more than I like being an artist. That's for sure. It's way more fun. Now to the sampling. What I like to do in a sample is sample it from the playlist. I don't turn my metronome on so that I don't get caught up in So first, let's find an area. I grab my slice tool, Mixcraft. So I'm gonna slice right at the I just wanna love you. Let's hit Shift Alt, do a vertical slice. That's how you do a slice anywhere on the sample. We're gonna drag it over. So now I'm gonna count music. So the biggest hurdle. Have I tried Ableton? What's up, Valio Beats? I like Ableton. I like what it could do as far as the rhythm and groove extract. My whole thing with Ableton is I'll get to a point where it's like I hit a creative wall. And it's not because I don't know much about Ableton, or maybe it is. Where it's almost like too easy to make a track. And then I'm like, what else is there to do? And then I feel like I didn't have fun. I feel like in FL Studio, there's a little struggle, which makes me feel like I'm having fun. Whereas in Ableton, everything's so perfect. I'm like, did I even do anything? It's not really fun. So I know that sounds stupid, but that's my perspective. Most rappers are nothing without good beats. I listened to that. I would play it. Shout out to EA Ski. He was talking about the Ice Cube album. The Ice Cube album is actually really good, in my opinion. So look up the new Ice Cube album. You guys might like it. Like the beats are really good. All right, so let's sample. So firstly, we're on song mode. We're gonna go to the beginning. We need to count the music first. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2, 2, 3, 4, and slice. 2, 3, 4, and 2, 2, 3, 4, and slice. 2, 3, 4, and 2, 2, 3, 4, and slice. 2, 3, 4, and 2, 2, 3, 4, and slice. Now every sample is not going to be that easy to slice, especially like live instrumentation or stuff that doesn't have a metronome to it. So like gospel stuff or orchestral stuff does not always perfectly line up like that. So what I'm saying is the transient is not always going to be perfectly lined up to the downbeat, which means you have to count in your head to create your own metronome to chop it. Because if you're not chopping to your own metronome in your head, you might over chop a sample, and then you're trying to squeeze 5 bars into a 4-bar sample when you time stretch, and that's why it sounds off. So that sampling is very complex, but the first step is learning how to count music. Every time you hear a metronome, that's like a heartbeat. 1, 2, 3. Actually, this metronome's going kind of fast. Let me slow it down real quick. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so every time the metronome hits, it's one heartbeat. Think of it like that. So we count 4 heartbeats to equal a bar for the most part. Sample sounds like Dru Hill. I would, but YouTube doesn't like when I pull from like major records like that. They'll get upset. So I'm trying to avoid that for now. I don't have a large sample folder on my computer anyhow. Let's double click here. So what we need to do from here is make all these chops unique. So we're going to click here, make unique as a sample, so that each one of these chops is seen as its own entity, basically. I'll show you guys some shortcuts you probably don't know. I learned this from Infinite. If you highlight your audio, you see how it's off the grid right here. Hit Shift Q to quantize that to the grid. Now, because the first one's already quantized, okay, we're going to hit Shift Q, and as you guys can see, it quantizes that to the grid. So now we save a lot of time during this time stretch process. Now, the easy part is if we double click, I learned this from In the Mix. We're going to switch. Actually, let me show you guys the shortcut first. Yeah, Joseph's like, I had to take a water break. I agree. Let's go to Tools. We're going to go to Macro. Switch all audio clips to stretch mode. Okay, what this is going to do is turn each one of these audio clips, these samples, into stretch mode. The reason that is because when we time stretch, oh, you only missed it for 5 minutes. Okay, cool. When we time stretch, we want it to keep the same tonality. We don't want it to change pitch, or else it'll make it sound out of key per sample. I asked Av how he got away with sampling H-Town. He said they didn't care on YouTube side. What's H-Town? Huh. It depends on what he means by they didn't care. He probably means he got a copyright claim, which is different. I just don't want to sacrifice revenue for no like reason. It's no point for this video, I mean. But my next videos maybe so. Double click on this. We're going to go to stretch mode. We're going to turn the time stretch mode and lock it to the nearest grid. I learned that from In the Mix. So basically you just double click and just arrow the time knob until it locks into the nearest grid. Now, it won't lock in if you guys are chopping sloppily. That's why I said the first step is chopping your music properly. Okay. So that is a whole course, but you guys can learn more in our Music Theory Essentials course. Can you upload this to YouTube? Yeah, this will be up on YouTube. Okay, so now we have all those chops. Now we can start to, what's up? It probably had a certain word in it. My bad, DL. So let's figure out how to time stretch this stuff right. So I didn't realize I was time stretching it to 5 bars. So now I need to pull this time knob back to make it make sense for this beat, which is 4 bar increments. So I didn't realize I was time stretching everything to 5 bars. Let's do this again. And now this should line up with our song that we're making. Let me read your chat in a second. Hold up. Superstyle says, do you have any music out on streaming platforms that you produce or personal projects? I wanted to finish a personal project and then my computer crashed for 3 months. So I'm trying to rebuild from the ashes. I used to have a project up. It was called 808s and Mermaids, but I took it down because it wasn't representing who I am currently, which is like way more grounded. The 808s and Mermaids project was just, I didn't like the image I was doing in the music videos. I flew out to LA, Miami. I had all these girls in the videos and all this. I was like, what am I doing? Like, so I took all that down and I claimed I was going to make a new album, but my computer decided to not work. And then it just took forever to get back on track. So yeah, hopefully by the end of the year, maybe, God willing. But I have a son that is right next door now that I moved the studio upstairs. And hopefully I don't wake him up when I record, because that would suck. Okay, so now technically for this sample, I would rid, the drums. I'll show you guys a little quick way to not have to do all that. This is not a like surefire thing though. We're gonna route the sample to one channel. We're gonna use Waves L2. Hopefully I have it on this computer or any limiter. We're just gonna use Waves. Oh, I forgot Wave stuff doesn't work on here. All right, we're not gonna use Waves L2. Let's use, what's another kind of quick limiter I could use? I guess Pro L2, even though I don't want to use this one. There has to be another thing. I think RComp might work, actually. Let me see. RComp. Dang, none of my wave stuff works on here. Okay, that sucks. Let me think for a second. I guess we could use Fruity Limiter. It's not that tedious. Basically, what I'm trying to do is create a ceiling so that any transient that goes above a certain point, it will turn the volume down. The reason I'm doing that is because I don't want the drums to poke out of the sample to distract people. So I'm going to lower the ceiling here. So now the kick and snare aren't as apparent. That's a cheap way to kind of do it. You said, why not figure out the BPM before chopping? Because not every song has a BPM. You have to chop by ear. Because not everything's going to like line up perfectly. Especially a lot of older records, even though your MPC might say 93 BPM, it wasn't perfectly matching 93 BPM. It might have been 92.6 BPM. And so that's why a lot of people, when they're trying to chop older records, are like, why can't I chop it right? It's because you gotta learn how to count music. Now I'm gonna filter these because and normally I would get rid of all the background drums and stuff. We don't have time to be doing all that, to be honest with y'all. So I'm gonna hack this through. Now we can compress it to death to kind of keep it from doing too much. You could use Pro MB to do this. I think there's a setting called, I forget what it's called, under mastering. It just gets rid of all the dynamics so it doesn't just move so much. Now I'm gonna move quicker here because now we're getting into the weeds about stuff. We're gonna tune down the hi-hat, the counter snare, because right now it's a little too bright. It needs to be. And let's move, I forgot we had the hi-hat. It needs a low pass filter. I'm getting kind of really advanced for no reason here. All because of the sample. But the sample will dictate the vibe. Let's go to the, I'm moving like lightning speed. Let's turn up what's called time shift. So now that like counter snare actually lines up with the sample. Tell me why I left and watched a video of yours and I came back and Bristol streaming. Hilarious. Yeah, feel free to, you know, move around the internet. No obligations to be here. It was more so me just kind of randomly going live. I had no expectations. So I have no expectations moving forward. Plugin Boutique has a Sublab on sale for $10 and Sublab crossover for $10. I just don't use Sublab. I don't know what that is. Dan Tana, thank you. And shout out to you for reaching, what was it, 2.5 million views? I believe so. If my memory's serving me right, if I'm not having a Biden moment. Let me check your Instagram real quick. Let me log in. Dan Tana passed. Hold up. Dan Tana. And I felt so bad because my computer crashed right before, or right after, pardon me, I started the YouTube memberships. Then my YouTube crashed. Or not my, what do you call it? My computer crashed. For 3 months. I was like, are you crazy? So I felt really bad because I just started the YouTube memberships and then my thing crashed. Yeah, 2.5 million views. Whoa. November 23rd, 2024. 2.5 million. You know how many people that is? That is a lot of people. That's like a city's worth of people. That's a whole city. 2.5 million people. Let's put it this way. The hometown that I grew up in had about 10,000 people. So you had 2.5 million people. And even let's say it's 1 million. Let's say some people watch your videos twice. Okay, that's still 100 times, if I'm doing the math right, my small city that I grew up in. 100 times. That million just, it will transform your perspective so much because you're like, wow, like a million is the new 10. Like until you reach a million, you don't understand that. Now you're looking at a million like this is the number 10 now. LR Bridge says, love your videos. Any advice on how to sell beats more frequently? You might want to rewind this really to the beginning because I talked about networking and I talked about how to be seen. Maybe I'll do a dedicated live stream about that, but this one is more so about the production stuff. Barney says, sup, buddy? What up? What up, Barney? I grew up on Barney. I would sing the song, but I don't want it to sound like I'm just singing to myself. Oh, what happened to Biden? Too soon. Wait, something happened? Wait, I might be out the loop. Wait, you gotta put me on. Did something happen? Maybe I'm speaking on something I don't know. Hold up. Biden. You know I gotta check Twitter just in case. Wait, no, now I'm reading Twitter. Y'all got me on so many rabbit holes. I just wanted to make sure nothing happened to him. Ice cream castles. And you rebuilt the Windows 10 or not 11. Yeah, for some reason, this computer can't update to Windows 11. I don't know why. I guess I don't have the components. So I'm probably going to have to get a computer built, but I don't feel like doing all that right now. Salute to all the producers. We should all drop instrumental projects. Yeah, when Web3 hit, I had a lot of producer buddies submit. We were going to put out an NFT together right when NFTs were like popping. And I had LLB on there, Joe Hodges, like a lot of dope people. But NFTs and the whole Web3 crashed right after. I was like, great. Oh, he's okay. Okay, let's check in. Just imagine we're not here. I know I've been interacting with the chat so much that I know people watching the replay are probably like, can you move on to the next step? So I gotta balance. He's saying that it's too early for Biden jokes. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out too early because he lost or too early because I thought something happened to him health-wise. I was like, I hope not. So I'm pitching the hi-hats down, the counter snare down. Now we just gotta find the kick and the snare and an 808. I'll show you guys how to do 808 slides, but let me find a kick real quick. So drill is really just about this. I'm kind of blending drill and R&B and sampling into one thing. Now the kind of other thing about drill that I didn't mention is the snare placement. So snares could be on the 3 and the 7, which is trap music, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Or it could be on the 3 and the 8, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Or it could be on the 3 and the 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's the cool part about drill is there's no one space you have to put the snare on. Except the 3 usually. Anything under Gen 6 doesn't have a TPM. Common upgrade problem. I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm not a computer guy, unfortunately. XP without no support? That's crazy. Windows XP with no customer support is insane. Oh, man. It just got here, says Christian Cry. Says, wanted to thank you for your tutorials. Been very helpful, especially the shorts. I need to make more shorts. I've been not putting them up as much. Thank you. I'm gonna post that to Instagram. Thank you. Taking a screenshot. All right. So again, the next thing about the next thing about drill. The first thing, firstly, is the tresillo counter snare. So it's ta 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 ta. Really, that's a snare with a high pass filter. Okay, not a hi-hat all the time. Do I like Macs? Oh, computers? I thought you meant McDonald's. I do, but mine is kind of ancient, so it's hard to work with it. Okay, so now we're going to put the snare on the 3 and the 6. We're going to try out different styles. Gaming laptops are the best for FL, for real. FL on PC is way better. It sounds way better on PC than it does my Mac. FL sounds way different on PC. It's like way more headroom. So let me figure out. We're going to put the snare on different spots. So we're going to put 3 in the 6, 3 in the 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2. Okay, let's do this. And then we're going to copy this over, hit shift to make this unique. Now here we're going to do 3 in the 8. So it's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's the cool part about drill. You can move that snare around without having like hard rules. But usually speaking, we put in America the snares on the 3. Now in UK drill, they might put the snare on the 4.5. So let me show you what that means. Let's make this unique. So it might be like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's what they might do in the UK. Plugin Boutique is one of the best places to buy music software. They give you reward points for everything you buy. I think from there I bought the Weiss MK3 when they had that. I bought that from there. I bought Scalar 2, one of my favorite plugins of all time. And what else did I buy from Plugin Boutique? But those are the big purchases. But yeah, I mean, I don't go there all the time, but I'm sure they have deals and stuff. Take out some of this bass from the sample. Again, I'm not trying to make a crazy beat right now. I'm just showing people the fundamentals of drill. The sample could be way better. He dropped an instrumental and it went crazy on TikTok. People used it like crazy. He earned close to 50,000 off one instrumental. That's nuts. Do you use any crack VSTs before you made it? Before I made it, yeah. The one I used to use back in the day was Kontakt, because whenever you went to those like torrent sites, you could just download the samples for Kontakt. You didn't have to download a keygen and all this extra stuff. So, because a lot of the keygens were just clickbait. So Kontakt was the one we used to download back then, because the Kontakt libraries, all you needed was the waves and the whatever came with Kontakt. So that's why we used Kontakt so much back then. And I had terabytes of stuff back then, but that was like when I first got started. So I tried to like do good, make videos, make the companies money, to kind of compensate for me downloading stuff. But yeah. Now, snare would really use something like this. I mean, what am I saying? Drill. I don't know why I said snare. Again, the sample's not the greatest sample, so we're doing what we can with what we have. Beatport owns Plugin Boutique. I didn't know that. Let's find an 808 and then we'll move to the next beat. We need 808s that are a little bit longer for drill though, because I don't have any of my samples on this computer. So give me a second, y'all. I'm trying to think. Who has long 808s? This would be more like a long 808. We're gonna go to the French tool, turn on monophonic mode. And we need to get not the greatest sample use. Honestly, ready for everything. Yeah, CPU is the only issue with these great plugins. It's like they eat up so much CPU. It's like, do I even want to use it? Can't even use it. So I deleted Omnisphere off my Mac. It took up so much space, but they have great sounds. It just, let me try to find an 808 here. Hold on. So this is one. Okay, I could go deeper with, creating a sustain loop and all that. We're just going to open an 808 and we're going to play some notes. Okay, so this 808 is playing the same note, which lets me know there's probably a loop parameter on somewhere. Yeah, here we go. So let's right click, make this none. You said, did you make more money by making and selling beats or recording and mixing, sell studio time? Me personally, I did the YouTube approach. I created an online business. I have an education company. I have a software company, which really does sounds and software. I did live events. I've done sponsorships with a lot of companies. That's the approach I took because I control the workflow. Whereas if I chase the industry stuff, I'm always waiting on the next man to approve if I get a placement. And to me, that was too risky. I didn't like that. So I think I have a lot more control building your own business, in my opinion. Not for everybody, but that's how I did it. YouTube is the first revenue source. Then we got into education, which I'm a natural teacher, so I wasn't faking anything. Okay, so YouTube was first, then it was education, then I figured out how to make my own plugins. And then, so I'm trying to offer all these different things. And then sponsorship comes when you start making a lot of noise. But you got to make a lot of noise to get sponsors. And that's how we work with $4 billion brands. It was Sweetwater, $1 billion brand, Avid, $1 billion brand, Razer Music, $1 billion brand, and Near Protocol, which is in Web3. The 80-20 rule is crazy. What's the type beat? Right now, I'm kind of hacking together a drill beat and a sample beat, trying to teach people stuff. This is not the greatest beat. This is just for teaching purposes. Real genius with taking that approach instead of chasing artist replacements, and you built your brand. Yeah, I wish people understood the power of brand, because in the world of AI, the only thing you have is your brand. That's it. And I just wish people were on that wave, because now I have a lot of industry producers asking me how to do what I'm doing. So it's like, yeah, I just wish people understood. But everybody wants to be cool, so I understand it. All right, so let's show them the 808 rolls, and then we'll move to the next concept or topic. It's getting a little late, so I might take a little intermission real quick. Let's just record this bass. 1, 2. I'm not trying to be in key. Hold on. I'm super out of key. Hold on. So we don't have to worry about the key. It's just the timing of the notes. I'm trying to answer your questions and teach at the same time, so I'm trying. DL says that's smart. Yeah, it's not for everybody. That's one thing I had to learn, is that I could teach y'all what I did, but it's not for everybody though, because it takes a lot of like building from scratch. Like you have to build your own email list. You have to build your own YouTube channel. That takes a long time. You have to build your own platforms, not your own platforms. You have to build your own following on different platforms, Instagram, all the platforms. You have to know how to drive traffic to your email list, your text list. You need to know how to market, copyright. You need to know how to make products, product development, software. It goes deep, so it's not for everybody. But I'd rather do something that everybody can't do than something that everybody can do, because then I always have a competitive edge. Can you give us a quick masterclass on brand building? I'm going to have to do a different live, because a couple people asked that, and I think that's a good one. But unfortunately, not everybody's like business minded, and that sucks. Because I wish the producer community was more business focused. Build your brand on YouTube and bet you're making. Let me read this slowly. Superstyle says exactly. Build your brand on YouTube and bet you're making more money on YouTube than producers with placements waiting on quarterly checks. You know, we always think the grass is greener, and that's the issue, unfortunately. Let me fix these notes real quick. My voice is getting a little raspy. I'm going to take an intermission in a second. How was I playing that? Let me show people how to do 808 rolls just real quick. If you want to do a roll, the way we do it is we hit Control L to elongate this note. We're going to add the same note up an octave. So right here, we're going to pull this up an octave, hit Control up. We're going to double click on this note, make it a slide note. Usually speaking, they're going to be shorter in length. So we're going to hit Alt to make that shorter. So now it's going to go wing like that. So let's pull this down an octave. So it goes like wing, wing. I'll exaggerate it so you guys can hear it. So it goes wing, wing like that. Now to exaggerate it even further, we can pull this up another octave. Hit Control up. Okay, and usually it's different notes too. I'm just using the same note as an example. So that's how you do 808 slides for drill. They're very fast. Strongly Brown TV says, what up fam? Kuru says, I was trying to make new jazz and I can make a chord, but it won't sound good even when I'm using good sound selection. Yeah, we'll do new jazz next. I think that's a fun genre. Exactly, build your own brand. We're going to take a quick intermission for like 2 to 5 minutes. I need a good beat to play because this beat is kind of whack. Let me play some beats I made earlier. So if you guys don't know, I came out with a plugin called Hypnos, and I was going crazy with the beats. Let me figure out where I put it though. Where did my thing go? Would it be Yekker? Let me find it. I was on the desktop. Hypnos. Here we go. I'll play a couple of these. They're only like a minute, so my voice is like getting all raspy. Did you incur this? What? I mean, I just don't like when people lie on my name. That's really what it comes down to. There was just so many lies. I was just like, what the freak? So if you ever see me respond to people, it's because I feel like they're lying. That's why. Not even I know they're lying. about specific things or leaving out details to make it seem a certain way. But again, I just respond to people lying. That's what it is. I'm going to mute my mic. All right, that took faster than 5 minutes. All right, that probably was like a minute and a half. All right, so you want to talk about new jazz beats? So yeah, let's move into that because I feel like we killed this whole little drill slash sample. It didn't turn out to be the greatest beat. The one thing about teaching people is like if your beat is not a hit beat, it's like they don't they don't listen to what you're teaching them. So sometimes as an educator, it is frustrating that everybody wants a hit beat every time you make a video, which is insane to think. But all right, so now we're from scratch. So let's talk about new jazz. Okay, so I love the FL Stock plugins for this specific sound. The Morpheme plugin's really good. There's a plugin called Saw-er that is very good. LFO plugins for, what are you trying to accomplish, Strongly Brown? LFO is more of a thing inside of a plugin, unless you're talking about to modulate your vocals or something. Live stream for... But if you're coming from Ableton, I can kind of understand what you're asking. Just let me know where you're trying to modulate, I guess, is the question. So yeah, new jazz is all about understanding theory. This is why I teach theory. I love chords for this reason. So I'm going to go through a little theory, so bear with it. But let's go to keyboards here. Let's go to the Crystal EP. You could always turn down the reverb if it's too much. I like the default sound. Now, new jazz is usually at like 140-ish. Let's slow it down just a little bit. So like 130. Yeah, it's just fun. FL Studio is fun. Sorry, my voice is getting a little raspy, y'all. But let's right click, go to piano roll. The one thing you need to understand is what's called a 2-5-1 chord progression. I don't have time to go through everything here on this video. Unfortunately, I teach this in my music theory essentials course, but basically it's the second scale degree, the fifth scale degree, and the first scale degree. Been teaching for about 10 years or something like that. 10 years. Shout out to, wait, you or me? Been teaching for about 10 years. So if you teach, you understand. Goodness. Thank you, firstly. I want to thank you before I start going into a tirade about being a teacher. But yeah, being a teacher, it's like if you don't have a hit song to show people an 808 slide, you know, it's like they don't listen to you. I'm like, do you really need a hit song to learn the 808 slide? But that's just how people are. Okay. Basically, it comes down to a 2-5-1. I'm moving a little bit quick here, so I know, bear with me. So if this is the first scale degree of the C major scale, we have all the white notes starting from C. Why is it so loud? Hold on. Turn that down. Okay, so it's all the white notes starting from C. On FL, I thought someone was using some vocals, and I'm curious. Okay, LFO on your vocals, I could see maybe like amplitude modulation. Just remind me to come back to that. Maybe vibrato is what you're talking about. Right. So in the C major scale, we would go to what's called the second scale degree. This is the first scale degree, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and then back to the first. I'm skimming because there's a lot to cover, but that's basically what we're talking about when we say 251. We're actually talking about scale degrees. Now, if we start at the second note of a scale, you could build a chord from here. And we use what are called chord extensions. Again, I'm brushing over this because it's a lot to teach. So we're going to go here. It's going to minor ninth. So D minor ninth is the first chord, or not first, but it's one of the chord extensions starting from the second scale degree. Then we're going to move into what's called a dominant chord. Dominant chords are the fifth of a scale. And the fifth of a scale always wants to come back to the tonic. That's the strong relationship you get. And you could use this in more advanced theory for more advanced things. But basically, this is what creates that push-pull effect. And this is how you resolve any chord progression. For this one, we're going to raise what's called the fifth and the ninth. That's just my style of revoicing that chord to sound good. And then we're going to go back down to C major ninth, which is the tonic. So we're going from the fifth, which is 7 notes away from the tonic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're creating a chord from that point, and then we're coming back to the tonic. So that is the formula 251. Let me show you how to use it in practice, though. First of all, this is loud. Hold up, turn this down. And I saw a couple chats that someone, oh, NFL. I thought okay, I read that wrong. Is teaching pay based on number of people buying courses or consultations? For my business, I don't sell consultations because I don't want to sell my time. I feel like the whole point of a business is to get away from selling your time. So I know some people who do sell consultations. I'm just not that person because people, I don't know, people don't listen anyway. I used to do consultations. It's just not my thing. I do it more so for people who I'm trying to train up to do, like, you know, be a partner, a business partner. That's when I'll consult people, but everybody else, not really. So yeah, buying course, as far as the education company, we have free courses on our site. We have, you know, low tier courses, which are like under $20. We have some courses that are between like 20 and I'll say $100. And then we have course bundles and lifetime access that's like above $100. So we have it tiered. So even if they don't have a lot of money, they could at least get started. But the main thing about education is that you got to really show people there's step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. Just, you know, there's a lot of steps. I think YouTubers tend to make it seem like it's just step 1 and step 10. Like there's a lot of steps in between. And that's the stuff that they don't know how to teach. But that's why I have my platform. So yeah. So this is 251. Now we need to create what's called a tresillo bounce. I'm going to sound like I speak Spanish. Tresillo. And then we're going to move into what's called the relative minor scale. So we're in C major, which is all the white notes starting from C. We're going to go to the relative minor scale, which is A natural minor. The way we do that is we use the 5 and the 1, the dominant to tonic chord relationship. And we're going to move into A minor, which is the relative minor scale. Now, we're going to use the 2 or the second scale degree of A. I know that sounds like Chinese, so I'll just show you what I'm saying here. We're just basically going to add A at the bottom, rid the top note, and then we're going to move this dominant ninth chord to E, which is the 5th of A. I know I'm speaking Chinese still, but we're going to use the second of the A natural minor scale. So in this case, we're going to start here. And I think we had a minor chord last time. And what I like to do is raise this note D up an octave. My bad, I had the timing wrong. So it's all about when you understand what dominant chords are, 7s and the 9ths, those dominant 7ths and dominant 9ths. Once you comprehend that, that is the sound of jazz, basically, for the most part. Is going from a dominant chord to the tonic and just doing that with different root keys. So I basically went out of key. Okay, and that's what gives it the sound. Okay, so now that you have the chords, now you can kind of start adding other layers. Remember in the beginning of the stream, I said there's 4 layers to a beat. You have the top line. You have the harmony section. You have a contrast, which is usually the bass or counter melody. And then you have your rhythm. Now with new jazz specifically, the thing they like to do is glissando. So they like to slur their notes. It's a jazz technique too. So now we're gonna go to saw-er, and we're gonna go to some leads here. Let's try. Let me turn my keyboard off. Hold up. So they like to slur their notes. And that's what creates that kind of vibe. So let's record that. I forgot how I ended that riff, but the whole key though is that you're slurring the notes. It goes from one note to the next, or whether it's a half step or a whole step. Sloppy on the second half. If you want a more bluesy sound, slur from one note directly below, which is called a half step up. If you want more of just an R&B sound, you can slur what's called a whole step up, 2 notes. That's called a whole step. So that's what creates that type of new jazz sound. Now let's get into the bass. The bass, they do the same thing here, but it's usually with like an 808 or a sustain type of sound. So let's combine the chords. I'm going to get a little geeky here. Okay. So we have the secondary dominant over here, moving into what's called the relative minor scale. To create even more of a vibe, we can kind of mix and match these so it doesn't just sound the same over and over and over again. What I'll do is revoice the chords. That's one way we could go about this. So I'm just going to take the third of the major ninth chord and just pull it up so it sounds more melodic. Because now this E is closer to what's happening up here, so it sounds more melodic. And we can do the same thing at the end here. We just need to find a note that is close. Now usually I raise the third or the seventh because those are more chord identifiers. Another thing is you can omit the fifth. A lot of jazz, you can omit the fifth. Are you a developer? A developer, somewhat. I can't claim myself as like I know how to just do stuff. But yeah, I have my new plugin called Hypnos at busyworksbeats.com/hypnos. Yeah, I'm getting dabbling in the software world. I'm not like a hardcore developer though. I'm trying though. Let's figure out which note we can raise up. Again, usually raising that third will make it more melodic. That didn't really do anything. Let's try this at E. It said high A. High A and G. So take that. You're saying take the root and the ninth and pull them up. Interesting sound. Let's try just the A. I was curious. Not really. I think we should just leave it alone. I think I'm doing too much. Oh, you know what we could do? I forgot to teach you guys. There's something called a substitution. That's what I meant to show you guys. So let's say we're not sure how to kind of end this to sound different from the rest, even though we're using the same exact chord progression. We're going to take this dominant chord and pull it down 6 semitones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is called a tritone substitution. And what we're doing is we're using a dominant chord and it's pulling it down to tritone, which is 6 semitones. So you only have 12 notes to move in an octave. So basically we're just going to half the octave. So listen to what it sounds like. It's a little dark, not my type of sound. Let me see, where do we start? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So G was that top note. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's see if we could raise a different note. That sounds crazy. Let's just, okay, when I'm doing the tritone substitution, I'm going to do normal voicing for these chords so it doesn't sound so crazy. And I just need to redo this ending here. Okay, so that is a way to switch up your chords without doing too much. Just recording this in. Give me a second here. That should match because now we're walking down with the chords. The direction of the chords is downward. Not the greatest ending, but I'm trying to show you guys how to make your chords sound different. Now that you have all that music theory and ease out the way, let's hit Control G to group that. On the left side, we can actually right click and transpose the notes. So I like to transpose in increments of 3 because that will give you the relative perspective. So let's do -3. And now we're transposing the entire chord progression and melody. It's a little dark. Let's try up 6. So basically we're just going +3. I don't like that ending. That sounds kind of weird. So now this is showing me, this is one technique I like to do when I transpose. I start to hear the flaws in my intervallic can't speak. When I transpose the MIDI, I begin to hear the flaws in the intervallic jumps within the melody. So this is, I'm starting to hear there's some flaw here. I guess it wasn't flawed. Maybe my ear just sounded. Do not remove horn samples from a sample. I would do stem extraction in that case and then flip the polarity. I showed you guys the vocal way to do it earlier, but you would just copy that same process but for horns. For now, it will take up too much time and distract from where we're headed. So the ending's kind of like whack, so I'm just gonna cut that little secondary thing we were doing. That was just to show you guys chord theory. Let's transpose this back down because I don't like this key. Let's do minus, we did 6 up, so we're +3. Let's do -4, so we're down 1. And now let's just swap out sounds. Now a lot of the new jazz sounds have resonance on the sound. They have what's called a filter envelope. So it's like, like that. That's kind of the sound. There's a lot of resonance type sound. Let's transpose this. So we can pull this down 2 octaves and now we're in the bass. If you click on the image line tab, you could actually turn off delay. So if you guys get into the bass range. Yeah, I use secondary dominance on the second half. So we went out of key, basically. Now we're all transposing to a different key. But what I did, let me see here. We started at C. Did we start at C? No, we started here. This is the original. Okay, so we went from the 2, the 5, the 1 of the C major scale. Then I use what's called the 2-5-1 of the secondary relative scale. So now I'm moving into A natural minor. And I'm using the dominant chord of the A natural minor scale to move into A natural minor. And I just made this a minor chord at B. So this is going out of key technically on this part. But technically it's just a relative scale. So we're still using the same notes, it's just a different key. Outside of like G sharp. And now we just got to add all this like little glissando stuff to add little ear candy. Now there's no rules at this point, but I like to stay within the structures that we talked about, like top line versus. So I'm going to separate the sounds. Give me a second. I forget how to do this. Channel. Where's the separate button? Create layers. Hold up, y'all. Okay, split by channel. So if you right click the pattern, you can split by channel. Basically, we're going to separate SAW from the chords. So now we have, now this is the contrast layer. This is the harmony layer. So now I know if I want to add more sounds, I need to probably add sounds that are 1 octave higher than my chords. We're in a different key now, so I don't even know, B flat. Talking about 4, well, let me see. Talking about this part. I just threw this chord in. I like this chord better than the actual chord, because if it starts off diminished, my ear doesn't like diminished chords. So I just chose the minor chord for the relative for this chord right here, if that's what you're talking about. But yeah. Let's add this top line. So now I'm going to add some shimmery type sound. I'm trying to think what plugin. Toxic Biohazard's pretty good for this. Do I have it? Wait, T-O. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, the plugins in FL, I thought they were whack for a long time until I realized these kids are using these older plugins to create their sound. So that's when I was like, oh, I need to hop back onto FL stock plugins, because these, like, my favorites are Morphine, Salter, Toxic Biohazard. They have a lot of dope sounds. I don't know why I overlooked it. Now we need some kind of shimmery, like, high frequencies. So I'm going to go through a lot of presets here. So I'm just going to add like a little kind of. We can even add that glissando. At the end, my ear couldn't do that by natural, so I gotta figure out which notes to add. Okay, so now we can add effects to that to make it more, like, add more movement. So notice the top line and the contrast layer. They're playing like opposite rhythms that balance out. Let's add some delay. Yeah, FL definitely got the sauce. Let's try. Let's do 1/4 feedback up. 150 is the best deal I've seen at the moment for FL Producer. I can rack it in as a VST and I use Innuendo. If you use Innuendo, that explains a lot. People who use Innuendo know what they're doing. Any DAW that's like Reason, Innuendo, Cubase, those are like composer DAWs. Studio One is like more recording, I'd guess. Be it 150 for the producer edition is what I would grab, because I mean, unless you plan to really use the plugins I'm showing on the screen, I don't really think the all plugins bundle is like gonna add that much value, unless that's the sound people are going for. Let's pull the bass down tonight. I'm gonna do a little sound design just to make it more ear gripping. Now, another thing that I didn't show about New Jazz is they use what's called like individual pitch notes. I learned this from Synthit. I gotta sneeze, hold on, y'all. Oh yeah, gross beat, definitely. I'm trying to think, is there another gross beat alternative for like half speed? I want to say, I don't think I have it on here, but Cymatics definitely copied off this other plugin called Halftime by Cable Guys, but I forget what it's called. So look up Cymatics like Halftime plugin or something, because you can get that. I think they're giving it away for free, or it used to be free, and it's basically halftime. Like, so that can do a lot of what gross beat does, but unless you're looking for like the modulation, the volume modulation and all that type of stuff. But yeah, gross beat, some kids really dig deeper into it. Okay. So now what we need to do for the chords is we want to double click on the notes. We're going to switch the MIDI channel. Basically, any notes with the same MIDI channel, they will slide to like each other. So basically, if I have Deja Vu, that's what it's called, thank you, OMG. Even though I talk trash about Cymatics, like, still gonna talk about their stuff. Like, if somebody has a problem, I mean, that should show you I have your best interest at heart. Like, I'll even mention a competitor brand if it means that you're gonna get the answer you need. Anyhow, so the notes are gonna go up and then back down. So the note will slide from here to here, but it won't mess with the other notes. Now, what we need to do though, so hear that pitch slide? It goes like that. So we can do that, but on a more granular level. Let's add a slide note. Now, my usual slide destination is 7 notes below whatever the target note is. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's double click on this and then add a slide note. So now this note will slide to that note because they're in the same MIDI channel. And that adds like a little touch to the chords. So we could do that every time we have these long notes. We could add these little slides in to make the ear more interested. So let's do this. Just kind of eyeballing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here I'm going to do 5 down, which is called the perfect fourth. I don't have time to explain all the little details here, but so now anything that's pink will slide to the other notes that are pink. Thomas Green says, I've been trying to make beats for the first time ever today, and watching this got me like, yeah, I don't know, man. Well, this part of the live stream is very advanced. So I would say if you're just getting started, rewind all the way back to the beginning. Because this is like the advanced part of the live stream. Very advanced. This is not like beginner stuff at all. I don't want to confuse you. But yeah, watch my live streams for beginners. Like anything I label beginners is like specifically for beginners, because a lot of people, what they do is they get excited. They want to make beats like Skrillex or like Metro Boomin or something. They go on YouTube, they look up how to make Metro Boomin style beats. And the people teaching you guys, they assume you know steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So they teach you steps 11 through 20. But the problem is you don't know steps 1 through 10. And so you're watching it, getting excited to make a beat, but it actually hurts your feelings because you can't implement what you're learning. And so it discourages people more. And that's why I try to teach people to learn in bite-sized chunks, but also learn from the very beginning. That's why I have a whole website where you can get free courses for free. Just go to busyworksbeats.com/premium because you can sign up for free. And my beginners courses are like focused on getting you from step 1 to step 2, like explaining every single step. So that's the difference. I prefer halftime, but Deja Vu offers a slightly different sound. See, Deja Vu is that plugin name there. So this creates like a pitch bend in the chords. So that's a little subtle detail that they do in the newer genres. Now I might just up the BPM to make it a little bit faster. And that's new jazz in a nutshell, along with their drums. But I don't want to bore you guys to tears about drums. I mean, you pretty much got the drums down. Let's do, who had the drums? Forgot. I might end the live stream here. I don't want to, I got to preserve my voice. I know it sounds stupid, but. Now their claps usually aren't super aggressive claps. They'll use like a super touch clap like this, but they'll turn it down. I've been stuck on whether to get FL All Producers or Producer Edition. I got the 314, but at the same time, I always use my own plugins. I'd say Producer Edition, and whenever you feel the urge to like upgrade your plugins, then buy the plugins one by one when needed. That's what I always recommend. Producer Edition is like the only thing I'd recommend. Oops. These claps aren't even the one I'm looking for. Where is the TR-808 clap? Who got it? Let me see. Here we go. So they might switch up their drums, so it's not it's the 3 and the 7 all the time. Right here, it's the 3 and the 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So let's switch it up. And the 3C. So it's all back to 3C. Okay, something like that. It's hard to hear the 808. Something's going down. Going down the scale here. What they might do, they might do something like this. Hit Control L, go to their 808, go to the envelope tab, turn the hold parameter up, turn everything else down. Yeah, I think even with, and I don't know where you are because it seems you know about halftime and growth speed and stuff, but so I don't know where you are exactly, but a lot of people even want to jump to melody, and I try to teach them, like, to understand melody for real, you got to understand harmony first, because melody comes from harmony. And once you understand the harmonies, you give the melody context, and that's what everybody wants to skip. But, you know, to each his own. I'm not telling you guys there's one way to learn. I'm just letting you guys know why it's hard to learn. Produced by Ano says, busy. Want to say thank you for all the tutorials. You really helped me a lot to get better in producing on life. Oh, awesome. Thank you for that. Let me find my phone. Where'd it go? Take a screenshot of that. I appreciate that. I'll put that on Instagram. Thank you. Produced by Ano. Thank you for that. If y'all get FL from Sweetwater, you can use Klarna and have small payments for 12 months. Does Klarna give you, does it like hit your credit? Or does it like, what is Klarna? Is it a credit thing? I understand it's a payment plan, but I'm wondering, like, do they treat it as a credit though? Swain is slap. Thanks for just reading your comments real quick. I use FL and Pro Tools. I like Logic, but don't use it as much since I go back and forth from it. Yeah, Logic is, that sound on Logic is just different. Logic really sounds like real keyboards. Logic has an awesome sound. I just wish their workflow was a little bit easier. But yeah, Logic probably is the best stock sounds out of every DAW. Pro Tools is the best recording and mixing stuff, in my opinion. FL has the best workflow for beat making, and Ableton has the best audio manipulation tools. I just wish they would come together, make one master DAW. We would just be making music forever. So I'm gonna do the same thing here with the bass. Add these little slide notes here. Wait, where's I adding? Hold on, double click. Making sure I wasn't adding all slide notes there. So it was like ding, 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 like a real bass. You don't just play notes one by one, you slide sometimes. Let's pull this down an octave. Now if you guys want a trick for your 808 to be heard a little bit, is go to your pre-computed effects, turn up stereo delay just a little bit. It will widen out your 808 without like doing too much. Do you use Arturia? I don't. I was sponsored by them for a long time, but I just deleted their stuff off of my computer. Not because it's not good. It just would mess with my CPU on my Mac pretty heavily. I have to try on my PC, see if it's still like that. But yeah, I don't like, I guess all these kids, they don't know what analog sounds like, but I have a real Prophet 6 to my right. I have a real Moog Voyager in the closet. I have a Yamaha DX7. I have, you know, the Moog Subsequent 37 in my closet. I know what analog sounds like. So when these companies say this is like analog, I'm like, it sounds thin compared to analog. Analog sounds way different. The company that I think is the best emulation of analog is UVI. They definitely have a supreme sound. It's very good. Some people swear by Cherry Audio, but for me, Cherry Audio sounds fake to me. But some people swear by it. So that's my theory on it. I don't know why everybody's obsessed with Arturia. I guess they're just good marketers. But actually, Arturia Pigments change. That's actually a game changer. What am I saying? Arturia Pigments, definitely a must download. I don't know if I have it on here. I need to download it. Pigments. Yeah, I need to download Pigments tonight. Yeah, Pigments saved the Arturia brand for me. But their stuff is good. I just don't use it like that. It was just too CPU heavy. That's the only reason. You said, how do you have 1 million subs and 40 in the chat? Because my channel is search based. If you go to, let's look at my stats real quick. And I haven't been live streaming it forever. So if you go to viewstats.com, here's the real stats. Look up BusyWorks Beats. Okay, click on BusyWorks Beats, and it'll show you my stats. So we're at 2 million views this month, which is up 8% in the last 30 days. And I haven't been posting videos. So we're up 8% without even posting. Where did I messed up the little screen. Let me do this again. So we're at 2 million views in the month. We have a lot of shorts views. That's our new growth channel. Long views are at 500 because we stopped posting for like a month and a half. Okay, so I don't know why people, it's a search-based channel, so it depends on when people search, you know. So it just depends. You said they have an incredible discount on their products for Black Friday, 80% off depending on what you bought in the past. Pigments is $50. You can get Pigments for $50. Now that is a value. V Collection is 100. Holy crap. Yeah, you could, not you, DL, but these kids are lucky. If they can get the V Collection for $100, good for them. If they can get Pigments for 50, even better. I highly recommend Pigments. That is the sound. I would use it, but I'm kind of running out of energy for tonight. Let's add some hi-hats. Let's right click, fill these 2 steps. We gotta add a little groove. Let's go to the wrench tool, turn up time shifts just a little bit. Joseph is still here. Thank you for being here. Now we're gonna go back to the 808. This is such a small detail, but instead of like the AC all the way through, we're gonna kind of stutter it. We're gonna add another like 808 right here. So it goes boom, 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 like that. It's a little hard to hear. Something's off beat. I gotta figure out what it is. Sorry, PC's, the cursor's a little bit different. So bear with me. Okay, so I must have played ahead of the beat. I don't know how that happened. That is off beat. DL says, I told you that I wanted to add value to you and your subscribers while I have your ear and your attention. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm gonna have to make another video if it's still a deal. $50 for, what is it, Pigments? Let me write this down. Pigments is $50. And what was the other one? V Collection. I might just download it just because you put us on. I might re-download the V Collection. I do like their Prophet synth. That's good. The Moog synth is really good. I'm trying to think what else they have. I just didn't use that other stuff. It was just always messing with my CPU. But that was on the Mac, I think. Oh, it's 50% off. Okay, so that's $100. Pigments is kind of expensive. I'll be honest. It is kind of expensive. It's really good for what it does, but it's kind of expensive. Because the only reason we use it in the hip-hop space, at least most kids, is to load up one-shots. We're not using presets like that. So I just wish they would like price it. I think they want people to hop into their subscription. I think that's why, if they have one, or buy the bundle. Basically, they want to make it so high priced that it doesn't make sense to buy it by itself, and people rather go with the bundle. I think that's why. I just wish these plugin companies would make their prices like realistic. Like even my plugins, like let me go to my website. So if you guys go to busyworksbeats.com/hypnos, this is my new plugin that I've been using in my videos and stuff. Even my new plugin starts at $50. I'm not gonna make this thing $100. Like that's ridiculous. As I air my whole phone number, I'm gonna have to edit that out the live stream. But here is the price. Let me scroll down. Actually, it's not okay. So it's $49 because it's brand new. It has a lot of sounds. It's a really good sound plugin. Now these other companies, they'll be like, new plugin, $297. I'm like, why? How many customers do they expect to get at $297? Like they make a lot more money if they just made their plugins $50, $100 at the max. Doesn't make sense to make it $300 per plugin. That's just my theory. Must balance like yin and yang, true. Room E Beats is here. How did I not see that? What up, Room E Beats? Room E Beats. My voice is a little raspy, so I can't do my thing, but shout out to Room E Beats and the beat battles. Let me see what timestamp this is, so I have to blur my thing. Hold up. So at 2:45-ish. 2 hours and 45 seconds. That's how they'd make new jazz for the guy who asked about new jazz. And then they might switch out the sounds. Now, normally you're going to go with an E piano for the sound. You're not going to go with these crazy sounds. Let me see. Do I have Omnisphere on here? I don't think I do, but let's see. Yeah, I don't have Omnisphere. Okay. Okay, so I thought I had Omnisphere. I guess not. Move off the screen, Omnisphere. Let's do, what other sound has like E pianos in it? I'm trying to think. See, let's use my plugin. Let's go to E piano. Let's go to keys. Try some E pianos. Wow, that's loud. My fault, y'all. Oh, my fault. I know why it's loud. That routed to my vocal mix. My fault. My bad, y'all. That's naturally not that loud. I was like, why is this so loud? See, my sounds just have that depth to them. It has a depth. You can hear it. This is the difference between analog and like digital sounds that are super thin. You can even hear it in the E piano. Now, the only thing is third-party plugins don't pitch bend in FL Studio's piano roll, so this little pitch bend technique won't work. You can feel the depth in the sound. Feels like a vibe simply from swapping out the piano sound. So that's new jazz. Unless you guys have very specific questions, I'm probably gonna wrap the live. But if you have like specific questions, I mean, I have energy to answer. But if not, no worries, no obligations. As a Pro Tools user, you are eligible for cross-grade pricing. Steinberg also discounts those prices, probably 300-ish. I always got confused about cross-grades, upgrades. I'm just like, it was confusing. Even with Ableton, I think I had to like pay an upgrade price. It's confusing. Innuendo is very expensive, $999 or $440. Dang. Yeah, what is innuendo? I don't even, like, what is it? I think it's used for like film. Augmented voices in February, so I probably got a lower price. Dope. Yeah, augmented. Once they got into the augmented series, I kind of lost track of Arturia stuff. How to promote your music. Darn, I'm trying to think. What's today? Sunday. So I might do a beat battle tomorrow if everything goes as planned. I hope to do a beat battle tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Oh wait, yeah, today, 3 p.m. Eastern time. I'll see. So that's a good way to promote your music in our beat battles. We usually go live every Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern time for beat battles, every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern time for song feedback. So now it's been, what, 3 months since I went live? So now we're bringing the live streams back. I just had to wait for the computer situation. Popstar Benny, thank you. I'm going to say Lando. Hold on, I got to message our guy real quick. Lando. When you guys follow people on Instagram, if you ever have a mutual follow, at least say hello to the mutual follow. Like, I never understood people who just follow people and then that's it. They just follow them and never say anything. Don't be that person. If you guys are going to follow anybody, say like, hey, thank you for connecting with me. My goal is to add value to you over time. That's what I say to everybody. I don't follow people and just never message them. What's the point? As a beginner, can I just trust earphones and then it will sound okay in big speakers? I can't say the latter of your question, yes, but to the beginning of your question, that's what I recommend for people trying to learn how to mix or make beats. Because really all you need, I know it sounds too simple, but truly all you need to be like make beats is your computer and some Apple earphones. That's it. Once you start getting into outboard gear and trying to buy this keyboard, that keyboard, you're really just you're being extra. I'm not telling you not to do it. I'm just saying that truthfully, to the core of what we are as producers, we shouldn't need all the extra stuff. If anything, you have a laptop, Apple earphones for making beats and stuff, and then maybe a MIDI controller. If you find yourself spending a bunch of money elsewhere, like, understand that as you're risking it. What up, Prothmesh? Or Prothmesh, if I'm saying that right. Fruity Loops is the app he's using. Yeah, this is FL Studio 2024. But yeah, at this point, hopefully you guys learned something. This live stream wasn't as focused on the training. I just really wanted to connect with y'all. Halion, I really want that, but it costs way too much. Let me see what Halion cost. Halion plugin. It was like $300. Now, one plugin I'm super about to get is this freaking Neural DSP. When you guys hear this, oh wait, I don't have my thing. Hold up. Let me do something real quick. Hold up, let me think of a process. Okay, so let's mute this track. I think it's channel 9. Gotta save this profile. Boom, boom. So this should be my, yeah, okay, that's my electric guitar. Now this one I'm demoing right now, but this is so far. The Petrucci, I had the other one called Gajura, which I thought was fire, but this one is way more fire. The Petrucci X, I'm about to buy this thing, even though it's like $100. Like, it's 50% off, but it's still expensive. But it just sounds the way I want my guitar to sound. Let me show you guys real quick. Now again, bear with me. I'm not a guitar player like that. What up, K9? Joseph still here learning the old school with 2 turntables and a microphone. Are you really? Because that's, if you do have 2 turntables, that's nuts. DJs have the best ear for rhythm. Like, they're so good at rhythm. It's crazy. Nova Fox says, just watching your email marketing one-on-one video and it's eye-opening. Oh, I got to screenshot that testimonial. Shout out to Nova. I'll tell you guys this. Out of 100 people that claim they want to be the best producers in the world, only like 6 of them are going to actually watch the videos required to learn the skills. of the business stuff. It blows my mind. I'm like, y'all want to be successful, but you don't want to have to do anything to be successful. But yeah, Nova says, just watching your email marketing 101 video, and it's eye-opening. A lot of people are still operating their businesses like the older generation instead of using a sales funnel. Yeah, I agree. Tricky part about email, it's getting very expensive. If you guys are getting into email and you're building an email list, I'd recommend ActiveCampaign. Anything else is probably going to hit you over the head over time. Like HubSpot is a money just vacuum. It will just take all your money and more. It'll just eat your money up for nothing. Like, so yeah, use ActiveCampaign if you can. I think ActiveCampaign has a price in, like you have to pay $500. I thought, I don't know, but it's way cheaper over time than if you use freaking HubSpot, which charges you like for example, I could have a list of like 20,000 people. They might charge me $300 on ActiveCampaign for a list of 20,000 people. Now, what you could do over time is automate it so that people who don't open your emails after like 30 days, you can mark them as inactive contacts and remove them from your email list so that you're not charged for people who aren't active. That's what a lot of people don't do. They get charged for people who just are not active. So you're just burning money. And in short, basically on ActiveCampaign, you could have 20,000 people. They'll charge you $300. On HubSpot, you could have 20,000 people. They'll charge you like $1,000. It makes no sense. It's like 3 times the price for nothing. Like you get nothing, and you have to upgrade to like all these higher tiers to even access the features that you get on ActiveCampaign. It makes no sense. There's no reason to use HubSpot. It's a money grab. They're trying to just take all the money they can. It makes no sense. What if you use Logic Pro? What about it? Set up and do birthday parties. There you go. You got a little business. Yeah, I have a business acquaintance. His name is Realistic Productions. He started DJing because he was a mixing engineer, but then he started DJing, and now he's DJing outside of like the Brave Stadium in Atlanta and trying to put together stuff with like, I linked him up with the Baby's DJ. Did I link them up? I might have forgot to do that. Hold on, let me make sure I actually did that. I'm pretty sure I did. Hopefully I did, because that was, I hope I did. But the goal was to link him up with the Baby's DJ Kid, and see if there was any mutual ground, because they both have an intent to serve people who need water. So I said, okay, that's very specific. So let's figure out a way to do that. So I was doing a DL. I was basically connecting 2 different people. Long story short, is my point is the DJ, all he had was like what his virtual little setup, like the 2 turntables and a microphone, and he just set up in front of the stadium, or like there's different areas of Atlanta he was talking about. I forgot what they're called, but he just, sometimes he's not even like commissioned to be there. He'll just go out there and set up and just start performing, and then people come, and then that's how he does it. So yeah, his name is Realistic Productions. Realistic Productions. If you want like the person I'm talking about. All right, let me just show you guys this plugin real quick. It's actually fire. I'm probably definitely gonna buy this though. Let me figure out why my signal's low. I'm not hearing the plugin. Hold up. There we go. There we go. Okay, now we got some signal. Has that like perfect distorted sound where it's not too aggressive on the ear, but it's not too bassy. It's like that perfect in between. This plugin is crazy. I'm definitely gonna buy it. Now I don't know how to program like metal guitars yet, so that's something I still have to learn about, but this thing is insane. Let's add some chorus, for example. I feel like I'm hearing a tone. Might be just the echo. my guitar skills. I forgot, y'all. So if I were to make a beat around this, this would be the top line, because it's higher than the chord octave. See, this plugin's crazy. I'm definitely gonna grab it. I just wish I sat down to learn guitar. Like, I need to sit down and learn guitar. There's no reason I'm not. That was my last tip for today. I think I'm running out of juice, y'all. I gotta take a mental break. I've been at this plugin thing for like a gazillion years. Here's Game for a Beginner. Let me mute this guitar. Here's Game for a Beginner. If you let me put down my guitar. This water bottle's in the way. All right, here's Game for a Beginner. If you can find an audio box from PreSonus that still has the Studio One Artist Edition in it for $80. The upgrade to go from the free artist version to Studio One to Pro is $150. Okay, little hack. There you go, little upgrade hack. He glitched the system. All right, so for replay purposes, I think I'm gonna just wrap this live stream. Now the next live stream, who knows what it will be about. I appreciate the people who sent in super chats. Deeply appreciate y'all even being here still. I won't have a webcam for a while. I'm just letting y'all know. So it will be a webcam-less for a while because I don't have anywhere to plug it in. Where am I going to plug it in at? So anyway, much respect. Peace out, y'all. And happy next week. Blue Wind says I make beats, but every time I upload them to YouTube, it sounds quiet. Yeah, they compress the crap out of beats on YouTube. That's just YouTube's algorithm, turning your volume down. All right, y'all, I'm out of here. Peace.